know, with a guiding light, all of a sudden maybe you can put that to a stop with a slow orb, or you know, with an nano, or just something to try to not let FaZe just kind of get into their comfort zone and just start getting that initial space, just start like slowly rolling over you. Instead, you try to kind of break their attack apart, maybe kill some of their timings. And I think that is maybe what they're looking for with this composition.
So you're kind of anticipating them contesting the initial entry and
well,
not necessarily
look at it right now.
defaulting to retake. Yeah.
Look at the nano swarm placement right now. They know that FaZe likes to attack that heaven position that we did as playing with the breach stun and then send, you know, Baby Bay out with the neon in that space. Right now they're guarding that with 2 nano swarms and an alarm bot. So we could already kind of see just in this pistol round the thought going on there from Turtle Troop about how they'd like to try to counter some of FaZe's hits. But FaZe, of course, they have a different strategy in mind this time around.
But look at the 4-man stack defensively for Turtle Troop. They're just going to get a little bit of a feel out here. Slow orbs are all that is remaining for Harmful, who is one of the first ones to drop in FaZe Clan, just win the pistols flat out in open space. Governor going to be flashed up, chased down. Smokes will not be able to take him out of harm's way. And now it's just on to Adder, the late rotation over, 1v4, one of those good luck, have fun moments. And I don't know, maybe that's just catalyzed by saying Turtle Troop just got a little bit too antsy, trying to figure out, wait a second, how has FaZe Clan not attacked us yet? Let's go sift them out. And, well, that call may have cost them the opening round.
Yeah, I mean, they were just relying a lot on Killjoy's utility to guard any type of, like, aggressive A push from the bottom side of the map early. That way they could kind of stack a little bit more heavily one direction. And they guessed right. They just lost the fight. I mean, FaZe, they thrive in those situations. They like to scrap. They want those early engagements. They are a team that's going to gather up and just try to trade blows with you and just never let up. They're relentless in that regard. That's why they get that whole Smeeg mentality that we talk about. It's just over time, they've refined that to where it's less of a loose cannon and more of a like staged out planned execution with the support of utility to really facilitate Baby Bay's aggressiveness. And that time they just clean house, right? I mean, they got 3 opening kills in the blink of an eye, and now they're going to get the benefit of it here with the upgrade.
In fact, you're even going to get an early Vandal in hand for Dicey. So this is one of those situations where FaZe Clan are looking to just do a no-nonsense round here. Turtle Troop have to kind of try to throw some mysteriousness into how they want to try to form up for this full pistol setup in round 2. You've already got Baby Bay, who kind of is already kind of flirting over towards B pretty aggressively, just outside of the tunnel. And Turtle Troop are kind of in this conga line back and forth between the B and the A site.
Yeah, FaZe were kind of sitting back waiting to see if Turtle Troop were going to push one of the sides of the map, because defensively, you kind of need to do that, especially on an eco. You kind of want an early idea on what you need to try to over-rotate to. But now everything's kind of settled back down, so FaZe start taking some space, and they're immediately poised, finds the entry onto Adder on what is now going to be an empty B site. Spike about to go down, and FaZe looking like a 2-0 start, but Baby Bay, it overextends just a touch. It's a let them carry it over now.
I don't think Okeanos actually got far enough forward to collect the sub, though. So as Superman gets the backside, it will be enough for him to take down 2. Governor for the trade, but this is a pretty isolated retake attempt in a 2v3 situation, and both players will fall simultaneously. So that maybe not as clean as FaZe were hoping for, but largely uncontested. And we go into round number 3, where you feel if you're Turtle Troop, those kills will amount to some more subsidiary benefit towards your economy getting into this game.
Yeah, Vandals aplenty on pretty much all of their members as FaZe mostly coast through that second round, the eco of Turtle Troop. Again, just losing, you know, Baby Bay to maybe a slight overextension. Force spy up here from FaZe, but it includes a couple of stingers. But this is a team that has a past of being very good in these eco-type rounds. They were leading the field, actually, last year in that regard.
Yeah, it's a big shout-out. It's something that I assume we're going to see a lot more of. Just because FaZe, they're so tricky when it comes to how they set themselves up. And a lot of it is off the trust. I mean, you even kind of saw it in that last round. Like, Poise is the first one forward. Dicey's watching with the Vandals. So they know at worst they're going to be able to confirm trades. At least that seems to be kind of the call to action. As once more, FaZe will kind of take their time, wiggle the zip lines, keep changing up the looks, and Turtle Troop, who are pretty much rooted into their defense, will split 3-2 between both sides.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of pressure being created by Poised over on the A side of the map with a couple of guiding lights just to keep the defense interested on that end of the map. But in reality, obviously everyone from FaZe gathering up here at the bottom of B, and they're looking to just play that contact explode play, just kind of send Baby Bay forward with some supporting utility. And once again, Baby Bay will get that space and get into Heaven side of B. So now they have a lot of ground to play from on this B side of the map, and Troop just basically have to play for retake here.
Love that little look, though, from just trying to spam through the fast lane seeing if they can find any connections, and Rossi will drop. That's the fault line that kind of enabled the elimination. And now Turtle Troop starting to swarm. Okeanos looking to clear up space for Governor to make a play back over towards the arcade side. Boys is playing a deeper angle though, finds the first, also has shoulder checks on the second. One more down low as we did, but he stays crouched underneath. Much of a difference because damage is still being dealt. Orbital strike earned early, that will be costed in, and actually, how about this? Turtle Troop are doing a pretty solid job of regaining back in, and it's Adder who gets all three. The Molotov is not quite in the correct end, leaving space for the defuse, and Turtle Troop will get on the board.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering about. It looked like just maybe Superman had done it by getting that Molotov off right before he died. I thought it was actually going to land Spike and maybe still win him the round, but as you said, it was just a slight bit off. It allows Turtle Troop to use all that trade fragging on the retake to lead to a defuse. Really well done. I have to give props, though, to Rossi. He was definitely making some stuff happen there from the underpass, kind of guarding one side of Baby Bay, allowing him to stay alive and be heaven to play post-plant, but did not pan out. Troop able to battle through all that, but now FaZe back onto a full buy. Governor on just a Spectre, so a little bit of discrepancy there, but otherwise pretty even.
Yeah, lockdown also had been earned for Turtle Troop as Baby Bay and the rest of the FaZe crew looking to get aggressive up towards arcade and in towards tower. Lots of utility spent to get Baby Bay forward, and that's what we kind of expected.
Yep. They really love that combination. They really love that combination of the fault line, Neon, to get into this side of B. And look at how quickly they got onto site and spiked down. And again, it's just going to keep Turtle Troop having to play these retakes.
Well, the defensive lockdown will be spent. Superman is kind of finessing where he wants to place the spike, and as he moves forward, he actually gets taken down by Adder through the box. So now the offense has to back away. The lockdown will come into play. A chance for Turtle Troop to try to regain some space in their relinquished B site. But long-range shots from Baby Bay keep safe. The backside of Cantina. Dicey following up, leaving Governor by himself. He has collected a Vandal. The wall bangs are good, gets the first kill, but the quick follow-up from FaZe still earns them the round. Now up 3-1.
I mean, that's the one thing you have to credit FaZe for, is like, while they were known as that loose cannon aggressive team in the past, over time they have added more and more supporting utility to how they do these sorts of takes, and just how quickly they got Baby Bay into that B heaven position with his own utility combined with Rossi's, and how quickly they're able to force that lockdown and get the spike planted. That's just the thing of beauty that FaZe are able to. We called it the sophisticated Smeeg style last season, and I think that still applies. Like, it is a very assertive play style that's very hard to fight against.
Yeah, and even in the fact of, like we mentioned, Turtle Troop playing a more defensive-orientated composition, they're still not able to slow down Baby Bay taking top tower.
Look at that timing.
Yeah.
He gets his own stun in to get him onto rope, and then the fault line comes in to clear him all the way the rest of the way forward onto the B site. So basically you're seeing the exact same strat from last round, except it goes by even easier because Troop are on an eco.
Yep. Two players deep. A headshot does land at a poise, but it doesn't stop him from still doubling up. So now the numbers for this retake become very limited, and the dimensionality of this retake is also pretty one-sided. Rossi, Superman, no problem, leaving Weed himself. Any kill would be a decent kill at this position, but he will not collect anything further. So now that we get back into another full versus full round, are you kind of looking for Turtle Troop to maybe take away that space in arcade and not just have to react on site? Because so far they're getting beat just about every single time.
That's the hard thing about Fracture, is there's so many different locations that FaZe can be pushing through very quickly, and so it kind of forces you defensively to kind of play a guessing game on what you want to defend initially, and then what you're going to be forced to play a retake from on the backside based on what you choose. So the reality is, yeah, they could pivot to playing a little bit more assertive on that front side to disrupt them, but who's to say that FaZe won't just, you know, go somewhere else and then they just wind up dodging them. This time around, you're seeing Troop decide to be proactive on dish side to at least get some space for themselves and some early intel.
And it's not costing them much either, which I think is also going to be a benefit for Turtle Troop, just spending the boom bot for now. But once again, you kind of take a look at how FaZe is positioned. Baby Bay is clearing out tunnel again, so he will have an extra angle as they approach in towards arcade.
It's basically the same play as last time, but done more quietly, because they're not just booming heaven immediately. They're using the underpass position instead. Meanwhile, Dicey is disrupting things on the A side of the map, making it very hard for Troop to rotate to support the B side.
Yeah, Troop is trying to isolate Dicey. As the cyber cage comes down, they will find the elimination, but the problem about this is everything else defensively over towards B has been broken down. Resurrection does come through safely, though, so Turtle Troop will have a 4v4, but time is going to be a problem. They are on such a long stretch here, Dust, to make it across the map.
Yeah, they really are. 4-on-4, safe post-plant positioning here from FaZe. Showstopper is going to be coming out to try to clear the way forward. Governor does get one with it, but he doesn't know maybe about BBB up close, and there is a trade.
Rolling Thunder now out to try to keep this post-plant safe. Superman will follow up after least Harmful was connected onto, and with Weeded and Okeanos just kind of stuck, trying to force something desperate into the mix with a toggle of the spike defuse. Weeded once again will be pressed here on the clock. Vault line comes out. Weeded is going to value the weapon. Rossi will not be able to share the same fate, but still, the tally on the scoreboard is a convincing one thus far.
Yeah, it's just FaZe running a similar strategy, but just with a slightly different pace, as well as having Dicey on the opposite side of the map to cut off rotations. Now, this is a strat that I was talking about earlier that FaZe are likely going to be setting up here. You're going to see Rossi stun B Heaven side to push Okeanos back, and then you're going to see that guiding light come through that door. It's going to allow Baby Bay to get into that short A position, and then they're going to start splitting that site real quick. And there's no utility here to stop it.
No. Just whatever Okeanos wants to throw his direction in return, but do you really want to spend too much? Because you're going to need it for retake, most likely. Spycam actually does get some pretty valuable information that the drop-up area is going to be contested, at least in some regard. FaZe looking to instead just kind of take it through halls.
Yeah,
no
they
defenders
didn't meet any resistance, so they're like, screw it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think if they would have met some resistance on the corner, they would have went through the short doors, but instead they feel like they have full ability to take long, and as you can see, they've done that.
Oh, Orbital Strike will split FaZe up just a touch. It actually does collect elimination. That's a valuable one. Poise dropping makes this post plant a little bit vulnerable, but Turtle Troop are running right into the trap set by Dicey. Baby Bay just gets way over aggressive onto Adder, and it still works out. Harmful, anything on. He's actually toggled the cyber cage, so they know he's here. Aftershock gets called in. Weeded trying to assist for some clearance, but it feels desperate in nature and unlikely in probability. Well, as FaZe will get the read on both members and just back away and not threaten anything for a potential easy 2v3 retake.
Yeah, they're trying their damnedest to make a way through with the smoke, but there's just too many FaZe members playing too many different angles. There's just no way to carve them out. I think it really came down to that battle on drop, man. I think if Baby Bay loses that fight to Adder, that could be a very different round on how Troop are able to retake because they have multiple angles of approach at that point. Instead, all of a sudden, Baby Bay is controlling drop, and your only retake is coming through A halls, and it's very well guarded by the combination of Ricey. I was mixing Dicey and Rossi together into one word. That was really well done. So that combination, maybe that can be some cute couple nickname. Yeah.
Do we like Ricey or do we like Dossie better?
I think Dossie's probably a lot better, honestly, in that situation. I wish I would have flubbed it that direction instead, but you know, we all make our mistakes as a Troop timeout comes, and probably at a good time, honestly. They're starting to kind of spiral out of control. Back onto a full buy as well. They need to try to come up with something here. I like how they were being proactive at Dish a couple of rounds ago and at least trying to get some early intel. Now they have the Rolling Thunder as well for a retake to kind of play that style and have kind of a way back into the opposing site they choose. But lots of ults available for FaZe.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're going into a lot of ultimates, though. That's the problem, potentially. Depending on how exactly I think Superman may want to use this Orbital Strike. On the other side, here's another little fun statistic for you guys at home. Turtle Troop in full buy versus full buy rounds only win 10% of the times in their first week. That is abysmally bad. Has to be a marked improvement if they want to have a chance against FaZe Clan here. So what I'm getting at, long and short of it is, kind of feels like a must-win round here for Turtle Troop. I hate to say that so early on, but if you're going to see improvements, you need to see them right here.
Now they get Dicey forward to guard this orb, and Troop won it, and they're coming forward, but Dicey's going to win the fight. At least Weeded's able to get the immediate trade. Man. Unfortunately, though, FaZe have the same idea. Rossi going to be there. That's going to give them one-man edge. They know about this flank behind them already from Harmful, so they're willing to fully commit to A, knowing that there's only one guy they got to worry about, and Manhattan's been stunned every which way.
The fact that he gets out, though, is a breath of fresh air in certain regards to keep this defense at least somewhat contestable. 3v4. Okeanos does have the Rolling Thunder if they choose to use this to break down the play through halls, and the first two kills come through for Harmful. That may be the go call. Poise will be affected by the Rolling Thunder. Adder in a good position to clean up, and it comes down to Rossi on the opposite side for the 1v2. Finishes off the first, no worries. Holding onto the aftershock, has a really good look at how this could affect Adder. The flash is also here, but does not challenge his own flash. Adder on the corner, 1v1, and it will be one. Adder saves the day for Turtle Troop and a key round tally for the squad as they get the retake.
Yeah, really well played by Adder, you know, getting back into spawn after all the stunts came in, staying alive, being able to play off the back of Okeanos' ult to be able to get another frag onto site, kind of get the numbers back to even, and then wins out the 1v1. I kind of wish that Rossi might have held back just a little bit longer. I think committing to site off the drop was a little premature. I think he could have bought a little bit more spike time, but it's always tough to say in those 1v1 situations what you could have done better. It's always a little bit more of a murky water moment, as we are going to see FaZe still carrying 3 ults into this next round, however, and still on a full buy. So true, that was a good first step, but they still have a lot more they need to take.
Opening barrier orb will hesitate this FaZe push, but it really on push. It was just BabyBay first through tree. Everyone else for FaZe was well behind him, so not the same activated engagement that we were used to seeing with the speed that BabyBay was kind of hinting at.
Yeah, Poise clearing out A-Halls right now with the Trailblazer. They still have presence over on that A side of the map. There was a big push, though, on the top side from Turtle Troops. They know that no one from FaZe is here, that they're either playing from bottom side B or bottom side A, but they have all that Killjoy utility kind of taking care of the A sites. But FaZe catches the timing here. They get on, and they will get a spike plant. Once again, Troop will be forced to play retake, but with a man advantage.
That play from Tunnel, though, does kind of force FaZe to have to play on site, and nearly the lineup comes out for BabyBay, but denied. Dicey stuck over towards the backside box, kind of forced to have to take an engagement. This is so much better from Turtle Troop. The isolation is supreme, and they only dropped 1 in the retake process, 2 rounds in a row for Turtle Troop.
Yeah, that really just comes down to them being proactive and pushing the top side of the map. It meant that they had another foothold they could launch from when that retake started unfolding, and they also netted a huge benefit from just getting that quick opening kill to get that fast 5-on-4 to make sure they were going to have that edge all the way through the retake process, and just had some really clean duels coming in from that top side of B, so really well done. And this might be that round I was talking about earlier coming in where FaZe want to go for that short A side guiding light attack, you know, to let BabyBay get forward as they stun heaven. The thing is, though, is that Harmful is going to challenge them at the corner, so it's going to make it a little bit harder for them to roll that play out.
Yeah, especially if he throws a slow or bandit, or maybe even just to kind of stop it completely. Yeah, there it is. Slow plus the barrier, so a little bit of both.
And so that whole game plan for FaZe is going to get shelved for a second here. Going to have to kind of wait things out, says that was definitely what they were hoping to do to kick off this round. Meanwhile, Dicey lurking the underpass here on the B side, still keeping that as an option. In fact, you're starting to see FaZe maybe even think about heading into a B split after facing so much utility at A early, but they have plenty of time to, you know, do it either way.
And here's the thing, and I love that little free cam look, is that Adder is set up if they do rotate and play through tree. But look at this. All the way through, there may be an opportunity here with this barrier orb drops, which is right now, for them to commit. Trailblazer will kind of sniff things out, but it actually does get affected, so it doesn't really see anything. And that's actually more important than you may think, because FaZe were looking to commit, and now all of a sudden you've got 45 seconds, and you kind of make a gut check call.
Yeah, they got slow orbed again, so they could never roll out that short A play they wanted, so now they have to just kind of use what Dicey has gained through underpass, try to split this B side instead. 4 men will gather, trying to attack up this side. They have spotted Adder immediately, but that Killjoy utility is there, as well as a lockdown to stop them from being able to get on site. They're running out of clock.
They're running out of a clock very, very rapidly, and they're going to make the quick rotation back. Harmful does not have any further utility, but any kill would be a good kill here. Goes 1 for 1, and there are defenders that are on site here. They could still stall this. Okeanos has a ton of utility. They're going to use the orbital strike to close the doors quite literally on this play, and then the Rolling Thunder just trying to force the play on in, and Okeanos is completely flashed, and they nearly still get the plan off. But as the planner is killed, Turtle Troop will win the round, and that's just supreme when it comes to staving off the clock from the defensive side.
And that's something that we were kind of talking about already before the game even started. We were just looking at the compositions before first round even fired off, was the amount of disruption capability this composition allows Turtle Troop. And so if you're a FaZe squad who are trying to, you know, lay down a foundation to launch into some type of quick attack, you know, the Killjoy and Sage utility, when well timed, is going to stall them out. It's going to force him to rethink things. It's going to force him to eat up that precious clock time. And in this situation, troops spread out their utility perfectly to push it down to those final 3 seconds, where FaZe were forced to run through an orbital strike just to try to get a spike plant down on A, and still couldn't get it done, really.
Yeah. It's great stuff. Okay. So now FaZe have to kind of talk it through. 2 points of contest that we have not really seen FaZe elect to take. They have not really made too many forward plays through dish to drop, nor over through tree. Do you possibly start to have a conversation around those 2 places, considering the resistance that they felt, or do you still try to maybe just delay something in terms of how you use your utility for an early?
Kind of tough to call. I mean, FaZe's style, I think that just based on the lead that they already have and just how the half is generally played out, I don't think they're going to deviate too much from trying to do these early set pieces. But the problem is that now they have an extra factor to think about that they don't know of just yet, which is this operator on Harmful. And that'll be interesting. It looks like they're going to go for that bottom A play here to kick things off this round.
Well, they'll get the luxury of having it, but it does come at the cost of a lot of their opening utility. Baby Bay's in. The spam, the fire from the defense, not really going to work out. The slow orb is still well placed, though. The spike is still not on site at the moment. And like you mentioned, the operator could possibly still be a deterrent, depending on how delayed FaZe Clan are getting into the site.
But yeah, but he's got to worry about potentially getting flanked, and that's why Harmful's kind of between 2 minds right now and what to be focused on. Yeah, that indeed was a good aftershock. Rossi takes a lot of damage to get that spike plant. Harmful turning his attention to site. This is where Dicey could slip in behind.
Yeah, and he's starting to make his move for sure. The rest of FaZe Clan's post-plant through halls can be contested by the overwhelming numbers from Turtle Troop, and they win out the engagements flat out. Dicey up top, pretty much the only saving grace is Superman is just playing for a clutch up position, and well, one Molotov isn't going to get the job done at this point. It does force them off, but the double challenge works out. And actually, that delay is going to hurt a little bit, but it's already to halfway. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Someone's got to get in and commit to it, and there you go. No problems. Okay.
Little bit close. Little close. I think if Dicey's able to buy a little bit more time, then that becomes a little bit more interesting. But the fact that Troop got so many frags in A-halls, they were able to pretty easily pick up on Dicey's flank drop because they had everything else already covered, you know.
Yep.
FaZe needed to win a couple of more battles there to really allow Dicey's flank to have impacts. And so Turtle Troop have made a heck of a comeback this half. You know, we only got one more round to go, and they've really closed the gap. We could be looking at a 6-6 before we trade sides. But FaZe still do have full firepower here to try to fit one more through.
Harmful's op this time will be over towards Arcade, at least for now. Barrier orb, slow orb to follow. Again, just try to keep FaZe completely limited on the space that they can take. Vault line's still going to come out. Harmful throwing out essentially trying to connect with something. The relay bolt will also land, so Harmful is quite literally lucky to be alive, but uses his utility to keep himself safe. Weeded now next one to be challenged, takes care of the spike carrier, and Harmful's gotten one with the shorty, nearly gets a second. In the midst of all of this, a pinstripe kill feed does get us to a 1v2, poised by himself. It's Okeanos out of the boxes, Adder nearby, first shots land, and then also a little bit of collateral damage also tallied up. The 1v1 looked to be forced pretty early for both these 2 players. Adder gives away the shoulder, but then the wide peak wins it, and Dust, we got a 6-6 half.
Yeah, and look at how that round played out so much differently than the other 2 times FaZe played that Heaven attack. The other 2 times they weren't contested. They were able to layer their stuns and just get in through that top B side and get onto site. This time, just so much just pushback and, you know, disruption being given by the Sage of Turtle Troop to never allow Baby Bay to get comfortably onto B site. You know, they were having to fight tooth and nail, and through all the chaos of the trades, it comes down to a 1v1 that Troop were able to pick up. You know, I got to give a lot of credit to Harmful for how he disrupted that attack, and then, of course, Adder winning the 1v1 puts us to all even here.
Wow. So you want to talk about improvements from last week to this week. Maybe the composition defensively has provided some at least light bulb moments for Turtle Troop, but now the offensive side. And the question will be their efficiency on initial engagements to get themselves into a more defensive post-plant position with this composition. That's going to be the big question here. And Baby Bay, I think they may have seen something, but yeah. Flash will confirm it. To back away, Governor there quickly to follow up. The fault line not quite landing in time, and numbers for Turtle Troop as they look to threaten B.
Oh, and we did catching a couple people inside of a smoke. Poise and Dicey, though, trying to make it interesting, but it's not going to be enough. In the blink of an eye, it's a victory for Turtle Troop, and they now will take their first lead of the series, and of the map, of course. Wow. Yeah, like you said, just didn't time it well enough there to save Baby Bay. And then we did, and Governor put in some work through the smokes.
Yeah. A little bit of fortunate timing maybe to some, but regardless, the quick execute noted, and a pistol has been won now for both sides. SMGs in hand, largely across the board, and now fully across the board. A lot of stingers, no one was surprised, I think. Just generally, based on how strong the weapon's been.
That nerf is on the way, though. Haven't quite got to that patch in competitive play yet, but that will be on the horizon, as well as a couple of new maps when we get into Week 3, with Lotus coming in and Split making a return for Bind and Breeze.
Here comes the hit for Turtle Troop. Double blast pack in. Governor's created a little bit of space to work with. Unsure still about tower. Could understand the caution, but FaZe Clan are completely stacked. And oh, that's just, yeah, that's just unfortunate. Once again, through the smoke. Poise will drop. That's a lot of your retake initiation, likely, as Rossi's completely empty. So it's going to have to just be pistol wins here. Here's the hit on the way in. Have to kind of work around the barrier orb as well, although that's a key win for Supa. Trades are decent. FaZe still making this punishing, but largely speaking, Turtle Troop's toast plant too dynamic for the flood nature of FaZe's retake, and now Turtle Troop up 2.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that FaZe, the last 5 games in a row that they won on this map, you know, from week 1 of this season to, you know, last year, they got no less than 7 attacking rounds in the first half. This time they were limited to 6. What I'm getting at is they've never really had to get tested too much on their defense throughout the course of the history of this team. And for the first time, they are going to be challenged to make a comeback defensively on this map. And I'll be curious to see how they do that, a situation they haven't really been put in before.
Okay. Eco advantage coming into the third round of the half, as you would expect for FaZe Clan. Have to make it work here, though, as it's going to be a long line of offenders through Dish. This would go into at least one trap wire, which is the alarm system here. Plus, Baby Bay playing along with the Vandal could shoulder and maybe punish this. And it looks like Turtle Troop is still going to at least kind of threaten, at least in some regard. Governor's holding up a stun, looking to possibly make it happen. And yeah, Baby Bay will be affected. Oh my goodness, the paint shells also pushing him back. Adder able to also tally up an elimination off the long kind of cheeky flank, and here come Turtle Troop. They want to take over Halls. The flash is there, but the kills do not get tallied. One more attempt, but Rossi's done well to take down 2.
Yeah, they were trying to chase after that damage they had done with the utility, and it kind of backfired. As now we got Dicey rolling in. Look at these headshots. Doesn't matter what agency he's on, buddy, when he can just focus on the crosshair. And now it's all down to Adder, and it's over. FaZe do fight back. They'll get that defuse, and they'll keep this one close.
What a response from Rossi as well. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's an absolutely brilliant idea from Turtle Troop. You don't have a lot of great weaponry. Isolate 2 rifles, hit him from both sides at the same time, and Rossi just denies it completely. Taking 2, that is exquisite from FaZe Clan. But that was kind of the expected result, so to speak, just based on how the eco trends go. And now Turtle Troop back into a full purchase.
Now here's where the real test is for FaZe defensively. Now they're up against a full buy. Can they keep it up? Baby Bay going to be able to grab his Vandal, so rifles aplenty for FaZe. The ult on Dicey. Early B attack here from Troop, it looks like.
Oh, but look at that. Aggression through Dish. So much intel for FaZe. And they're just going to back off the B site completely from here. And Turtle Troop, who are kind of taking their time. The spy cam is the only defender. You can kind of see Dicey is almost living in it at the moment. So this long flank route is not just going to be clear and then head back. They're going to take Arcade and try to work around as the lockdown gets called. But how much do you commit through this lockdown? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're already ready to retake from top side B through their spawn as well. So they're going to have a multi-prong approach this retake as opposed to just being isolated one way through spawn. And the timing of it might be faster than Trooper expecting.
Yeah, agreed. However, look at the post plant. Turtle Troop have elected to play deep through tree. You've got Adder, who's playing a little bit further forward, who's likely going to hear a lot of these footsteps on the cross, and Governor, who at least keeps one player off the flank safe. That tilts now to an advantage back to Turtle Troop. Governor sidesteps the aftershock, takes the gunfight versus Baby Bay. Now Showstopper's been earned. Right at the feet of Poise. No worries there. Can anyone take down Governor? Nearly gets the full A. Harmful there to confirm the final kill. But what a play from the offensive Rays.
Indeed it was, but a little bit of sloppiness from FaZe. They had a really good flank to the top side of the map. Their timing was right there for a retake, but the fact that they didn't throw any supporting utility to try to get into that heaven side and make things tough on Governor is a misstep. He's kind of just able to get all these 1v1s, and definitely props to Governor, by the way, for winning those. I mean, that was a brilliant display of aim. But if you're FaZe, you've got to, you know, layer some of that same utility you're using on your attacking side to do the same thing on the retake. Don't make it easy for Governor to just watch someone slowly come up the rope and get a free headshot. I think that they're going to need to kind of brush up on that going forward throughout this half. Just kind of make sure that they're using that same utility that we praised them for on the attacking side on these defensive retakes. But again, tip your hat to Governor. That was a hell of a round.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you brought that up, though, Dust, because that's a bit puzzling to see the efficiency earned in the first, we'll say 7 rounds of the offense by the combination and layering of utility, and that has been absent completely so far on the defensive side. And now you're not just looking at 9-7. I mean, there's not a lot of money to be shared here for FaZe. You're looking at light buy at best, and Turtle Troop are going to feel really comfortable kind of bolstering their pockets throughout this, and an opportunity, more importantly, to try to get some key ultimates back online. You've got Okeanos, who's starting to get closer. We did as well. Those could be huge tools next time we get to a full purchase versus full purchase round.
Right now we're seeing a little bit of dish pressure being exchanged both ways, but from FaZe, it's kind of empty-handed. Just the guiding light. Meanwhile, lots of personnel of Troop will slowly start to get control of that drop area, maybe even pick up the orb, trying to flex their firepower advantage here, clearing out some initial space. Definitely a stack, though, from FaZe on this side, so they gambled correctly if indeed Troop commit to A.
It's a big if, though. Nothing that says they... And you're already kind of seeing with Harmful collecting the orb, maybe the intention was just get the orb and get out. Turtle Troop waiting to see if anyone tries to challenge the drop push. You also have a long flank from Adder. He does catch a shoulder at Baby Bay, so they know Halls will be under threat, but actually Turtle Troop are looking to kind of maybe isolate. Here we go again. Vault line forwards, pack in, smokes to cover the crosses, barrier orb to reinforce, and that is a clinical takedown of getting on towards site and being able to get a plant, plus now the isolation they were looking for initially.
And they're going to follow it up, too. Guiding light from Poise, not really going to be effective. Weeded able to pick up the frag there pretty quickly. Governor following in behind.
One enemy remaining.
And kind of as we expected, the superior firepower is going to win out when it's all said and done. Just Dicey left with the Sheriff.
No chance. Governor for another
Back-to-back
4
quads?
kills. Yeah, back-to-back quads, brother.
He's in
Looking
it, bro.
more like
he's feeling
Turtle
it.
Troop Attorney General or President, maybe. Not just the Governor.
I was actually about to make a joke about running for Senate or something like God,
I hate us.
And you flubbed it, too.
I know.
It's even more disappointing. I would have executed it.
Just better in every way. More handsome, more talented.
I had more time to think about
more
it.
wisdom.
As you were fumbling, I was preparing the lines. But you fumbled it so hard, there was no point at that juncture.
Can we just call this like a, it was like we fumbled the snap, but you're the defensive line or the offensive lineman who recovered?
Yeah.
Heavy trade of utility. Right off the rip on both fronts. Rossi has got both hands up for the Rolling Thunder. It's going to get called in. And FaZe are actually putting together a pretty solid response to this. Goodness gracious. They even avoid the orbital strike. Speaking of fumbles, we may have just seen one right there from Turtle Troop.
Hey, the solution for FaZe's defense was just to play offense.
You go figure.
Which, this map allows for. That's one of the things. It's almost kind of necessitated. Just the way the map is structured, you kind of have to defensively pick a little bit of something to fight for early to get some early intel to kind of direct how you want to rotate later on throughout the course of the round. This time around, FaZe just really find the fight they were looking for and win all those battles, and now Adder's left all alone here. A little high-low peek there, but Rossi and Baby Bay, indeed, you love the high-low.
And now there's a third. That's a mid-high-low setup.
It was a high-low and a head glitch. Good luck, buddy. Get out of here.
All right. That's a huge response from FaZe Clan. Not only do you survive with Reap spent out 2 different ult play, that's just a huge turning point potentially in FaZe by trying to get back into their map selection.
This goes here.
Yeah, gonna get their economy back in order as well. Alts will again favor FaZe going into this on top of everything, so that's good news for them. So we see Turtle Troop lining up top B side early, maybe trying to attack into B heaven a bit. But Rossi disrupting.
Yep. Slowing it down. Maybe a follow-up as well. Smoke's coming out. There's Robo Strike coming out. Goodness, FaZe have predicted this nicely. Can they get the eliminations, though? Because sliding in was Baby Bay, but you see the kill feed. It's heavy. It's a 3 for 3 after everything's all said and done. But the problem here is that FaZe kind of are a little bit more isolated out just due to the fact that you've kind of got Dicey who has to commit in to trying to help get Rossi out of top heaven and nicely.
Indeed, they worked together quite nice on that one. We did alone. Does have spike possession at least, but still wins even though he lost the timing on that. Ugh. Thought Rossi was going to have him dead to rights, but no, Dicey.
Launching smoke.
Oh, good prediction for. Oh, this Molly is actually really well placed. Goodness, we did. You thought with the Neural Theft, Dicey would have the leg up, but it's the eBay clutch coming through for Weeded in the 1v2. And now Turtle Troop in a convincing position to take away from map.
I mean, there wasn't a doubt in Weeded's mind that Dicey was going to walk through that Molotov on the edge of this smoke after he got blipped by the ult. And he was right. It was one of those things where the gears were turning for FaZe and the idea was good. The execution could have been a bit better. You know, Rossi lands that first fault line. They're using the orbital strike to break Turtle Troop apart, you know, between the underpass and between the topside position. But then when it came to actually taking the duels that they had created, they got a little bit sloppy when it came to how they were going out there swinging. Like, the initial staging, good. Just the finer details at the end, not quite. They allowed Turtle Troop to kind of trade themselves into an even situation, and ultimately they went out of clutch, and now they have a 3-round advantage where FaZe are kind of running out of time here. It's been a back-and-forth affair. If it keeps up that way, Troop will eventually win this map.
Yeah.
And, again, FaZe losing their pick of Fracture, their bread and butter, a map they haven't lost in ages, by the way. Like, I'm talking, they've won their last 6 games in a row dating back to, like, August of last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this would be a big punch.
Well, and how much on top of that do you start to second-guess your composition going into possibly Pearl, where you assume that with Baby Bay's kind of functionality on Neon, he's going to want to play a very similar comp that we're seeing right here. I don't know. Lots of things to kind of plague the mind of FaZe, not just as a squad, but fans across the Twitch stream, as now Turtle Troop, once more, convincing position with their eco, are looking to get on a map point. I hate it, but if you're FaZe Clan, you're hoping that you can find some sort of an eco here, or some thrifty rather, and Governor just goes right over the top of Superman. Maybe making the overdrive, nearly has a chance to line up, but couldn't connect. And with that, the meat of FaZe will drop. Governor picked back up with the res, and now it's just down to Poised. It's not a part of that initial defense, gets a lineup for 2. It's not over yet, but it would be hard-pressed with the Stinger to do much more, and that will be where the effort will end. Turtle Troop on that pointer, Dust.
Just a beautifully designed attack on this short A side. Rolling Thunder to clear the way for Governor to satchel his way in. Grabs the duel on the stunned player. Opens up that space with it. Baby Bay limited to just 1 frag with his ult. So very efficient trading there from Turtle Troop through and through. That's going to put them to map point, but FaZe back onto a full buy. Poise does have Seekers. That's the only ult on the table, though Weeded's only 1 away from grabbing Orbital Strike.
Yeah. And we've seen Weeded get really proactive with those Orbital Strikes. Can they fight for the orb? Governor's already making a play forward. Baby Bay taking away space at Halls. Lurking nearby is harmful on a corner. This would be a 1-for-1 corner from him, you would figure. No way he gets out of here if FaZe do double chow this. And it doesn't even get first, so big advantage now for FaZe with the numbers.
Absolutely. They have really slowed Turtle Troop down, and there's still a pretty good defense in place for FaZe at the B side of the map. Meanwhile, FaZe can still set up this quick flank through the bottom side now that they have A Hall's control. It really kind of pinches Troop into committing to this B attack and maybe having to do so in a way that they weren't really comfortable doing. This wasn't how they wanted it to go. And look at them getting bogged down on this utility.
And wait a second, now the Seekers are coming from behind. Oh, Babyface sliding in, gets 2. And there's still more defensive members to deal with. Seekers actually do land on Okeanos. And yeah, that was a plan that was broken down really just off the first eliminations. FaZe Clan just dominate the map control.
They do, but here's the thing. The only way that they've been able to win rounds this half so far is through proactive little pushes like that. And I feel like you can't count on replicating that consistently. Like sometimes either A, you're going to lose the fight initially, or B, no one's going to be there. And then you have to still play the methodical retake from that point forward, something that they haven't been able to put together just yet. So that's a good first step in the right direction of forcing overtime, but Turtle Troop, I'm sure, are still feeling pretty comfortable about how things are going. They have their orbital strike now. No ults on the table for FaZe. Probably won't have one for a while.
Feels the ground right here. Bank account's starting to get thinned out a touch for Turtle Troop. Meanwhile, with the convincing previous round, FaZe Clan are starting to really feel a little bit more comfortable in the economic department. Poi's going to play under drop. Oh, okay. Backs away. So that would be a very difficult position to defend against the current force that Turtle Troop have. Paint shells in hand. Fault lines out. That's looking to calls. The rest of utility looking to try to stop anyone from hitting over towards the doorway side. They denied only getting a 1-for-1 trade, and that means that Weedy can plant.
Yeah, similar attack to what we saw from Troop earlier. This time they just committed a little bit more to A-Halls early on and got an even exchange because of it.
Yeah.
Smokes will now be redeployed, blocking off some of these routes for Superman in particular here, who's trying to come in through Heaven's side. Puts the stem out, but Adder gets the initial frag, and they saw that orbital strike available.
And Weedis was waiting for the time to call this. Does he use it over towards Hall? Does he want to use it on the backside? He uses it on the backside. Okeanos beats him to the punch, though, finding the first kill. Weeded down low, Armful up top. Now just need to find poise for the 1v2. Have to have it if you're FaZe. And off the reload, not a classic, not going to find anything off of that whatsoever. And Turtle Troop, hold your horses. They take map number 1 in the face of FaZe Clan picking one of their historically strongest maps. Mercy.
Bro, that's their first loss on Fracture since May of last year.
Whew.
And granted, they didn't play any all-seasons events, so that kind of tampers with that stat a little bit, but it's still the truth that they were on a winning streak last year and open strong against G2 this season on this map. And now we see Turtle Troop, you know, kind of tinkering with their composition a bit, finding ways to disrupt FaZe when they were on the defense to kind of keep the score close. And then when they went onto their own attack, you can see they had some very well thought out executes that they nailed time and time again.
It's so encouraging from Turtle Troop to, I think, in two parts. The first is you were able to go back, reevaluate what went wrong for you in week 1 against Shopify, change your composition, and even when it wasn't looking like it was going to make much dividends on their defensive side, they then kind of further their impressiveness to say, all right, in a live environment, we can evaluate what's going wrong. What do we need to do to change this to kind of stave off this FaZe Clan aggression and do it perfectly? And then, you know, we said it a couple of different times, but most importantly, near the end, the only FaZe Clan rounds that they won defensively was when they got proactive, and you can't count on that working every time from the defensive side. That's a brilliant map for a lot of reasons for Turtle Troop.
Yeah, again, it was the adjustments they made in the first half with how they were using their Sage utility to slow FaZe down, to allow them to kind of just disrupt FaZe's attacks before they could really get rolling. And then in the second half, again, they had their own form of Smeeg aggressive executes that they could put together. Really well layered utility, particularly on some of those A splits, to really get it across the finish line. So props to them. That's a big map win to take FaZe down on that map in particular, Fracture, which is really FaZe's bread and butter, a team that was a top 4 team at the end of last year in the region.
A stunner to start us off for this best of 3 series, and possibly a shell-shocking surprise as one of these two teams will finish out. I don't think many people would have had FaZe Clan starting their group stage 0-2, but that's currently what's knocking at the door. We'll send things to a break, and we'll consider Pearl when we come back afterwards.
Yo, check it out. Want to know if the price of those Wave Runners is too good to be true? Or if I Wear My Kicks 49 is truly selling dead stocks? Or if that Jordan 1 Royal Box is original? eBay checks. See that little blue check mark? Behind it is a team of independent authenticators who check. And we mean everything. Every tongue, check. Every toe box, check. Every corner of every box, check, 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 check. Every logo, every label, every lace loop. Yeah, it's checked. the luster of the leather, the topography on the tags, to the straightness of the stitching on the sole. Everything you can see, and even some things you can't.
Really?
Then they tag them, log them in the system, box them up, and ship them out, with no cost for the buyer or seller. eBay checks, so the moment you open that box is as real gets.
North America Challengers, where close map 1 finds Turtle Troop 1 map the lead. And Dust, I think some of the Turtle Troop fans may have left early after the 6-2 start for FaZe. And now that they've returned after all the breaks and the intermissions are gone, do you mind reminding us and the fans who might have missed it the adjustments that we saw? Because after that 6-2 start, this was Turtle Troop's game.
Yeah, I mean, FaZe won pistol. They were able to kind of get their aggressive game plan rolling, as we expect to see for them on Fracture. Was going really well for them initially. But then we saw Harmful start kind of pivoting a little bit on how he was setting up the Sage utility to really start slowing FaZe down in the early round portion and kind of help the rest of his teammates get a little bit more prepared and set up for FaZe's attacks, or to set up and play for a retake as needed. That eventually got them back to kind of a tie situation. And for the first time in many months, limiting FaZe just 6 attacking rounds. We're used to getting at least 8, I feel like, most of the time when they start on the attack. So that was really well done. Then on the second half, man, Turtle Troop had their own really well-organized aggressive attacks, particularly Governor and We Did dominating in the second half to kind of get them across the finish line there.
The craziest thing about it is you have on one side a very defensively sided and stacked up composition versus a very offensively and attack heavy sided composition, and the more balanced gameplay on both sides of the spike came from Turtle Troop, which is, I would say, difficult to pull off. Like, not that you don't discredit them, but that's something that you often see kind of falter teams where it's like, okay, we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for a better defense, so we're going to add an extra sentinel, an extra controller, stuff like that. In the face of a double initiator Neon, they were able to find a response against it, and then on the offensive side, still play with great control in the face of having a Killjoy and a Sage. That's a lot of credit to Okeanos and Weeded for being able to kind of make a 3-man entry happen, right? I mean, Governor found a lot of the eliminations, but it came off of great dissection of the site from Okeanos and Weeded. It's a surprising statistic to pull, but it's one of those, it's like the defensive comp being able to pull off a more successful offense is very surprising to me, and there are some major evaluations that will have to happen for FaZe Clan in this downtime before we get to Pearl.
Yeah, I mean, look at the duelist diff as well here. I mean, Governor with 7 first kills, the BB Bay just to 3, as well as just having a way higher ACS, so just able to get a little bit more firepower out of that duelist role. And it comes down to some of the things that you were saying, where just how they were able to adjust their utility throughout the course of the map really kind of helped set Governor up. But it was also a situation where Governor just had, what, back-to-back quad kill rounds? I mean, and they happened at such a pivotal time in the game where the economy was kind of teeter-tottering for FaZe. He comes through with back-to-back 4-kill rounds. All of a sudden, that puts Troop ahead and gives them the momentum to go ahead and just, you know, finish things off. So props to them, dealing FaZe their first loss on Fracture in quite some time.
And it's a really cool story, especially for Governor, right? Talking about the 4Ks in situations where you could hear it in Shift's call. It's like, this should not be possible. This guy should not. In tower, the whole round, all 5 came at him and he killed 4 of them. It's so insane for, I think, specifically a player like Governor who for a long time has kind of just been looked at as a content creator and kind of bouncing around a little bit, and now is really cementing himself as, hey, this guy is a for real competitor, right? Taking down a FaZe team shift that has has 5 strong names.
It's like a big ladder jump, right? Like coming through quals, he looked good, he looked solid. He was definitely one of the players that we wanted to keep an eye on to see how he would perform. And sure, last week the whole squad kind of suffered, but even in the effort for the loss, I think he only finished like -1 from kills to death ratio. But no, I think we're definitely starting to see that he's for real, and that Turtle Troop can count on him to be able not just open up space individually, but take care of areas that are left for him based on how his initiators and controllers are setting him up. So those are all great things. Individual skill prowess and mechanics, very high. And his awareness from a team level, obviously executed on a number of different rounds, and key rounds at that, mind you, throughout that entire first map.
Yeah, and I think the flip side of this coin, this is not to get too negative on FaZe, because again, they show us a lot of strengths in their individual talent and how they set up their initial attacks. But I think there is still something kind of lacking in FaZe with the finer details of how they handle some of these critical mid to late round moments. You know, you go back to that round that we were talking about where Governor gets 4 kills from tower. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that FaZe dropped the ball on using utility to make it hard on Governor to hold that position. They were feeding him 1v1s where he wasn't getting stunned, he wasn't getting flashed. He was able to kind of pick and choose his battles, and that's just not something that we can expect from FaZe. Like, they're so good at using their utility whenever they're the ones kind of setting the tempo. They need to be able to do those same types of things in the pocket in those mid-round chaotic moments to kind of just polish things off, and then they could be a more successful team, in my opinion.
Well, and so now that we've got FaZe, who, again, maybe didn't show up to their liking, or even to the fans' liking, to our liking here on the desk in map 1, much like them, we have to have short-term memory, right? We have to erase all of that. We don't have a whole lot of time actually to get into map 2. It sounds like the players are ready. So all of the stuff that you guys wanted to talk about for Pearl, you get to do it without me. I appreciate you guys. Take it away.
That sounded strategic, Tanner. I'm just playing, brother. Here's the curiosity point. You've got a composition that you could pull off essentially again for FaZe Clan, mostly looking at potentially pulling things like a Neon if you wanted to. Do you try to go to that, or do you change your dynamic nearly completely as we start to see the agents start to lock in?
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. This is FaZe's first time playing Pearl. So who really knows what the heck that they're thinking? It seems like the agents that they are selecting are agents that make a lot of sense for the map and make a lot of sense for the roles that these players play on this team, like Poison Rossi playing those initiator roles, Baby Bay being that duelist, Dicey seems to be playing that sentinel role for this team, even though he can't be on his beloved chamber anymore. Or he could, but it just wouldn't be as effective. You got Superman, still playing that primary controller role. These are some pretty common, compositions to see on Pearl. Also, this is my first time commentating Pearl. I'll go and throw that one out there. Okay. So, chat, just
be ruthless.
Yeah, be ruthless. There you go. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know it. Jokes. Okay.
Excited though. I do like Pearl. I've enjoyed playing it a lot. So glad to get the.
I feel you on that. And we're getting essentially mirror matchups here. The only difference being the Cypher on Dicey to Adder on the Killjoy. Harmful bringing out the Jet. He's been really at a buffet line of agents throughout this stage so far, including the qualifiers. He's been everywhere. So,
and that's just kind of his history. I mean, Harmful has played a lot of different agents. He was a former Jet chambermaid. He played some Sentinels. He's played some Viper. He was a guy who actually swapped between Cypher and Jet a lot early on, which is like the weirdest combination of agents to choose between. So yeah, not too shocked though to see him here on Jet this map.
Also keeping an eye, I think, just to how both of these Sovas decide to play. Both were great in their first week, even though they both faced losses. As Dicey defensively is just using the spy came over the top of the smoke to make sure that no one comes through shops. That's clear. But look at the play from Turtle Troop deep. FaZe have a read on this, though, and do walk away. Benefits of first blood. Governor looking to still force this and does trade it back off, so we go to an early 4v4, but mid-map control an issue, and FaZe are trying to put together responses numerically to deal with it. What a prediction from Governor! But in that same breath, the hit over towards B stalled out by Poise.
Yeah, Poise doing a heck of a job right now, doubling up before it's all said and done. Adder able to trade back, but now he's all alone. Baby Bay able to get into the back halls and finish it. And this is one of those situations where Turtle Troop were doing a great job threatening mid so much to where it was kind of allowing them to slowly work up long B to set up the split. Governor getting a couple of really big frags that kind of set that emotion, but Credit where credit's due. Poised, held firm, so patiently behind screen for so long, just waiting to see if maybe was something going to come his way, and he winds up doubling up and saving the day.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's big stuff right there, I'll tell you that much. Because it looked like for a moment Governor was going to do enough just to kind of stall everyone mid-map. So, okay, good stuff from FaZe. Again, it's rare that both these two teams in week one were able to take pistols, but so far they're trading back and forth. Maybe a decent response and read on where exactly the Turtle Troop are coming from, but Dicey, through his cyber cage, I would say, once more, lucky to be alive, as Harmful was looking for the counter frag with the Marshall, but does get pushed off long enough, and now a steep advantage for FaZe of the defense 5v4.
That's one of those situations where both teams were looking to be proactive at long B early. FaZe comes out the better end of the deal. They will have the 5-on-4. They've left Harmful behind with the Marshall at long B to continue to poke and prod and maybe keep people's attention, but the spike is certainly pivoting with the rest of the team over towards A. Kind of a forward position, though, here from Rossi to detect this pretty early. That knife will give him even more of a clue as to what's happening. He's going to go ahead and start kind of backing off and setting up for the retake if it's required.
Yeah. And him holding on to that dugout secret area is going to be key if this hit does come through. But Turtle Troop actually just going to show force and then back away.
They wanted the
Harmful.
orb.
Yeah, okay. Harmful's got an angle. That's the thing. If he finds a shot, this is doable.
It is doable. He's got full HP as well. His team are regathering behind him, and they've put enough pressure at A to keep those people in place. The thing is, there's still a 3-man B defense for FaZe, though Dicey is a little bit softened up.
I think Dicey's heard all of this, though. That's the big problem, and he alerts the squad. Gravity Well will essentially vacuum up all Turtle Troop's hit, and Dicey's just going to have a little bit of fun with Adder here. Am I left, am I right?
I just got a mental image of a bunch of turtles getting vacuumed, and it was really sad. Please don't do that to me ever again.
Sorry, my bad, dog.
Unreal.
It's not my fault that your mind went there, okay?
Why would you want to vacuum a bunch of little turtles?
Dude, honestly, I was just looking to use a different synonym than sucked up, honestly, if I'm being honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I can't really argue with that one.
All right.
So you are going to see Troop now onto the full buy phase on the bonus, of course, though that bonus does include 3 rifles, so, you know, still pretty hefty as far as bonuses go. Early B pressure here from Turtle Troop.
Nothing detected off the defensive knife, and that's actually going to spur FaZe to take a little bit of focus here towards B-Link, at least initially. They have a really good setup, though, with Stars and, of course, the Cypher Trap, so pretty isolated, I would say, from being able to get taken by surprise. Lockdown is going to be in. That will call Raw to assist. He's not going to be able to delete this with the shock darts, not with his timing getting over here, but he will be able to try to stall things out. Pre-fire comes through, but Harmful gains access in towards back halls. But doesn't win the first gunfight. That is a tragic loss, allowing FaZe an opportunity to quickly retake. Stops the spike plant, at least for now. But TTR are going to back away and maybe still have a chance to extend this round, but they've definitely hit their losses pretty significantly. 3v3, Governor still trying to battle back as the fight just continues to rage on. It just seems like it's never stopping. And eventually, FaZe Clan with the superior firepower at range from Superman will win the round.
Yeah, like you said, it nearly did never stop throughout the course of that round. It was just always constant fighting. It seemed like Turtle Troop had like a pretty well-layered attack on B with the lockdown, you know, with the dashing into the back halls to try to control that area as the spike was getting planted, but they lost that first critical battle, which gives FaZe back halls, and now all of a sudden it turns to a scrap. And FaZe, they love the scrap, and they were able to come out on top of those duels, win the bonus. They're now up 3-0, and now it's Turtle Troop on the back foot economically.
And it's one of those things, too, and I'd be curious to see if Turtle Troop get cold feet again, is once you try to bail off of that B hit, you're stuck if you don't have any sort of smokes to cover your retreat, and that's kind of the example that was just showcased then. Trapwire will cause a bit of a deterrent for Harmful unless he decides to swoop over it. I imagine he'll just delete it, though, as the offense is pretty heavily stacked here, so whether he gets over or not, you still have to deal with it in one way or another.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to go for this A split here through Art. A couple players A main as well, but the defense on A is still in place.
Good grab well.
Great grab well and shock dart combination here to get some damage off, and they finish a job. No Superman able to stay up.
No command comes out, though. That's from the offensive side, so FaZe will not be able to use any early utility on this retake, so it's just got to be down to the superior firepower. Poise in a little bit of trouble here. Nice little snap over to Weedy, who could not find the free kill. That will lead to a very convincing kill feed for FaZe. Now the utility can start to be used. Rossi's recon bolt allowing the way forward. And yep, the read is pretty darn perfect. Shock Dart will finish off Okeanos, and then Dicey, no problems with Governor. FaZe Clan off to a very hot 4-0 start.
And you can see what Troop were trying to do there. You know, they took some good space at Art. They were able to get spiked down using the null command to try to, you know, hold FaZe back on that retake a bit. They were certainly down in firepower on the Troop side of things. They had to do something special to try to hold things off, but FaZe just weathered through, putting the first map behind them, focusing up, and now they are really dominating this first half, 4-0, and most of these rounds haven't even been that close, to be honest. Also, how about Poise coming out with 7 frags in the opening 4 rounds?
He's been great.
He's been great, you know, so far this year, after last year not really being the guy you would think of as being a heavy fragger for FaZe. That was more, you know, Dicey and Baby Bay's responsibilities, maybe Superman, but Poise is, you know, leading from the front, man. He's IGL and top fragging right now.
Yep.
Deploying drone.
A key part towards possible success for FaZe Clan, but it can't just be him. That's where the caveat comes into play. Harmful gets across. The Nebula was pulled back.
Baby Bay knows.
Baby Bay, yeah, he for sure knows. Does he get a chance? No, he doesn't. Harmful catches Baby Bay kind of windshield wipering his aim left to right. And that now leaves a completely isolated Dicey. Poise has to rotate to help you. You cannot leave your Sentinel here by himself.
Yeah, he is really in a tough spot. He's got no cage to use to get himself out of this position. And so he's just hoping that someone's going to help bail him out. It is going to be Poise coming over with the KO. Knife gets broken, though, and Dicey's about to get run down. But can he surprise someone on his way out? A flash comes through. He's only good for 1, but Poise gets the second.
That is enough, though, for FaZe Clan. Especially as Poise continues to just tear it up around the B site. Finally, he will drop, but job done. For both of them to go in a 2v4 and take 3 kills is great news. Cosmic Divide used very early on. Aldrone will scout through this. Won't be able to reveal too much, especially considering that Weeded is still playing deep into halls. That will give the information away, though. So now the defense on the retake. It's going to be a long play through main, and then one more through Link. How they hit this, though, is all about the timing. Superman gets the opener, and then long-range shots land just through the Nebula, allowing Rossi the free defuse, at least to halfway. And they're actually going to let him keep this. Maybe not. I'll say Superman has a chance to earn his, or as Cosmic Divide off of this defuse, and they will forfeit that last half to get him to earn it.
Yeah, really, again, well played by FaZe. And again, it's Poise being the X factor in the round. He's able to support Dicey, who's in a tough spot at pillar. Dicey gets 1, but Poise trades and finds the second. That tilts the advantage back in their favor as Superman's setting up this flank through long B. Gets it done. And it's a 5-0 start for FaZe. Turtle Troop having to take a timeout here. Try to start figuring some things out. They've had their own mixed results in the past on Pearl, whereas FaZe, we had nothing. No information. It's, you know, the only thing that's out there is scrim bucks, perhaps, and I'm not quite familiar with the scrim economy. I usually stay away from that.
Not following it either, to be honest.
I mean, for all your editors out there, I know that y'all want stuff to talk about, and I get it. You know, you had a whole off season where you were starved for content. You were starved for something to discuss, and so scrim bucks was the only thing you could grasp for. But in reality, scrim bucks don't mean anything, is what I've learned over the years. You can't cash them in. It's like trying to use Chuck E. Cheese coins to pay your rent. Money. You can't do that.
Yeah. But
Monopoly
if you
money
can,
works too in that situation.
let me know where that.
Yeah, if you hit me up, or where I can find some Chuck E. Cheese tokens now. All right.
I'm down for some ski ball and pizza, brother.
Their pizza's kind of trash, though. To be fair.
Yeah, but you know, it's like one of those when in Rome situations.
True.
Suppose. But the road here does not get any easier for Turtle Troop on an eco and looking at the face of 4 stacked up ultimates for FaZe. So maybe some heroics, maybe some punish can be established. The fragment does deny Poise some space to contest through Arch. B-Link is completely taken for advantage, and FaZe is going to have to play retake here, even though they do have superior firepower.
Yeah, Turtle Troop wasting no time. They're even threatening Heaven right now with Harmful playing inside this smoke right now. It's all going to come down to timing on who's going to win between him and Dicey. He actually throws down the second one and backs off. Poise now trying to come back through B-Link.
Oh.
Again, he kind of gets halted.
This is the sentry turret deep is actually going to keep this FaZe Clan retake a bit pressed. They're throwing 2 members on the flank. This is very doable for Turtle Troop just to kill off the clock and hold this with how they have everything positioned. Maybe they with the knives, a bit empty, very empty. And it's TTR who come out on top of a number of the kills. Finally, the fight back comes through, leaving Governor by himself. But once more, he's got a pretty solid read here on where the last member of Superman is. There's the toggle, 1v1, and Super takes it relatively easily. But man, that's a punish from Turtle Troop if I've ever seen one.
It was a punish, but it still doesn't lead to a result. And while it may force some rebuying out of FaZe, they're not too worried about that. They're able to keep the operator there thanks to the pickup from Superman. They have plenty of credit to spend. And so it's one of those things where you were oh so close, but not quite enough. And we all know that close only counts in minimal situations, and points on the scoreboard is not one of them.
Yep. But imagine if it was.
We don't give participation trophies out around here, Chip.
Facts.
Well,
Okay.
of course, we actually do get participation pay.
Well,
so
well.
Get out of my way.
I guess everyone does in this
Yeah, you can
in this
consider that to
world.
be a trophy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of ults were spent by FaZe in that last round, so it's not just the purchase and the halting economy, at least so to speak, onto FaZe Clan, but now Turtle Troop actually have the benefit of the majority of ultimates. Baby Bay is watching an aggressive 2-2 defensive stack through mid. Not a lot of contestants here, but Ross is just going to kind of take a look. And Weeded's timing, he could actually follow up behind this play if there is an execute to A and maybe catch someone off guard. It'd still be risky, but the door is slightly ajar for such a play to happen.
Yeah, Turtle Troop not committal really to anything at this point. They do have their Jet and KO still playing over here towards A main. Spike, though, still sitting on the back of Okeanos, transitioning through spawn as they look like they want to maybe even try to throw some pressure along B. So I'm not sure if they're looking to kind of fake A little bit here with this ult from Governor. Harmful actually gets a frag, so that's going to sell the fake even better. Really starting to force all the rotations right now from FaZe. It's a Spike. Will make it into B for free, though these trap fires will let FaZe know what's up.
Yep, and now all of a sudden Harmful kind of has to get aggressive as the defense is starting to rotate back. Oh, Harmful nearly gets a knife, and Baby wants the battle. Bold to say the least. Spike planted, FaZe will get the defensive rotation over, but look at all the stars being placed. This is exactly what Turtle Troop want as far as post-plant.
Cosmic Divide, though, comes in from FaZe. That's going to kind of split this post-plant setup in half here. Maybe allow them to get towards that Spike. A beautiful shot from Baby Bay.
Superman's on the fuse. He could hold this. Poise is trying to create the time and space. He's going to hold it all the way through, and at no point was the Hunter's Fury even considered.
They came out too late, so they burn it. And the Spike still gets defused. That is a tough one, man. The fake was sold so well, but those pesky trap wires of Dicey allowed them to kind of get past the error of over-rotating the fake. Great Cosmic Divide as well from FaZe, that must be said. Helped them out loads in this situation. Great flash through the wall as well.
Well, how much of that Hunter's Fury coming out late from Okeanos is made kind of evident by the Poised pushing through the Cosmic Divide and nearly taking down two. Like, Okeanos had to help the gunfight. I don't know, a lot of things to go back and relook at, lots of small things out there. But now Baby Bay's going to have a chance to shine with the operator. Aldrun will push him off the angle through halls. He does have help nearby. Curves the Cloudburst, try to give himself a little bit of space as the attacking lockdown is now in play. You assume that Turtle Troop will just burst right through this at the exact right moment, and here's the play. Cloudburst to try to section things off. Weeded on the plant, and FaZe Clan will back away.
And more importantly, this time they control back halls. Remember, last time they ran this play, they lost that back halls battle early, which gave FaZe an early way back in to retake. This time around, they're going to have to work a lot harder to get that space. But this Hunter's Fury could pave a way forward.
It does tag once, will not get the full elimination. Baby Babe just a bit wide, allows Adder a chance to go into a 1-for-1 early engagement. TTR deep. Once more, back and forth go the kills. Adder still holding close, though, is the difference maker, at least for this post plant. The long flank that's trying to come from Superman on the minimap is just not here in time. And with that in mind, it's just down to Rossi. These would have to be some of the most incredible long-range shots you've seen in a minute. And he's not going to get the time, as the double peek will come through, and they will recognize that he is not on Okeanos for 3. And TTR on the board finally.
Yeah, it's one of those times where they were able to finally execute the site, get away with everyone, maintain back halls control long enough to safely plant the spike. Even with Hunter's Fury coming in, they only take one tag off of it, so they're able to back off, play from long B, They're able to read the flank, take care of that, and then just win outright throughout the battles on the stretch of that long B side. So finally, Turtle Troop on the board after quite the drought. Will that be the spark they need, though, to throw some gas on this fire and keep this half close, or is FaZe just going to swat them right back?
I mean, it kind of feels a little bit like we just saw in Fracture. You kind of need to start stringing together rounds here if you're Turtle Troop. And Baby Bay is going to essentially eliminate early resistance out of Adder. That makes potential post-plant setups a little bit more difficult, depending, of course, they can even get the spike down in the first place, because this defense is still in a really solid spot to read this hit towards A.
That drone did not see the Astra, but Baby Bay is still holding the angle at the operator, so it won't matter nonetheless. They've also gotten another frag as well already on the A side itself, and there's Baby Bay. And this like FaZe is just going to ride this one home.
So
I thought for a moment that they were going to get a timing when that drone didn't catch.
Yeah. It's still so difficult, right? I mean, going into a 4-man execute towards A, how do you clear out all that space? I mean, you kind of saw it the last time they attempted it. They actually used the Gravity Well and Nanoswarm combination to flush out that player in dugout. And as Baby Bay tallies the third, it will be an investor flawless for FaZe Clan. First one in the series so far. Now Troop are once again kind of hard-pressed economically to do too much.
Yeah, FaZe is getting the early picks and riding with them. Baby Bay putting that operator to good work. Poise continues to have a heck of a game and really a heck of a season so far from his role. Up to 12 frags in the 9 played. Everyone really kind of doing their job, though, on FaZe. No one's really slipping behind in any kind of regard.
Yep.
And fortunately for Turtle Troop, they don't have a whole lot to work with this round, and they're already so far behind.
Yeah. This would be a disastrous first half if you don't get 3 on the board. Even getting 3 still feels like a loss.
Yeah. Once again, trying to use some of that mid disruption they use on the pistol round to try to scramble this FaZe defense a little bit here.
An opportunity to re-wrap back over to hit this A link. Supa's kind of isolated. He's going to have a little bit of help now, though, as Rossi's made the shift.
One enemy remaining.
Headshots will land. Will tag on the shoulder. Through the box will work out for the overwhelming success on the opening engagement. By himself, does have the spike, so maybe a chance to plant for some extra cash. Poised, are you okay?
Poised is not going to let him get it, though. Needed to get that kill quickly for any chance of a spike plant. Wasn't going to happen, though. Not the way Poise has been playing. This is now 9-1 FaZe. Just 2 rounds left in the half. Troop back onto a full buy, but it is a Guardian for Okeanos, so not the most ideal situation. Also, a couple of guys having to get the half armor.
Have to have
No
this
ults.
in the next, though, if you're Troop. Have to have it.
Yep. You got to win out the half.
Yep. Lots of ults are close on both sides. And Troop, who have really only found success, as limited as it's been, towards B. I was going to say, maybe there's a chance to continue to kind of pressure this FaZe defense to lean in towards mid-map. But Dicey's going to get so much intel off of just the spy cam. And that's not going to hesitate Troop from moving deeper and deeper into B-Link. That'll move the Cypher around, and Baby Bay tagged up will also have to kind of retreat in towards Halls. Poise is also going to make a move over. So you're committing a lot here to moving the defense. You have to find success if you're on Troop. And they're just waiting. They're just taking their time here, Dust.
Yeah, Baby Bay misses his first shot as well from back hall, so it gives Turtle Troop a chance to get even more space right now. But Baby Bay retakes the angle, but gets caught. That's another big miss from him. Now Turtle Troop start taking the side. But boys, the man has been on a mission all map long, and he continues it. What a play.
I mean, just when you think you've done everything you could possibly have done if you're Turtle Troop, you take care of the 2 isolated defenders deep. The only players that were still alive are on bridge, and it's just... That's it. That's all you needed was Poised.
Last round.
Poise is feeling it
wow.
right now, man.
Yeah.
16 frags with 5 assists. Just in the blink of an eye, this round turns its head on those 3 frags. Everything was going Turtle Troop's way. Baby Bay was missing his op shots. They were taking space. They had the split set up. Everything seemingly they could hope for, and then boom, Poise says, nah, not having it.
So now the desperation buy in the final round of the half leads to 2 Stingers, 3 Guardians. So the long and short of it is, you either have some great taps, or you can get these stingers up close and personal to deny space. Both seem a bit desperate in nature, though. Troop once again threatening over towards Link. Supa is in his own nebula, just waiting for this play, although he may not get the read that Troop have actually pushed through, at least slightly. Nebula fades. How? Okay. Finally, the trade comes out. I was like, if Supa get both of these,
I know what you were thinking.
chalk it.
And now they're using this lockdown to try to slow down any rotation from the A side of the map, as well as using the Cosmic Divide to get safely into a B plant. So I like this combination of utility from Turtle Troop. It's going to definitely set them up for success in this 4 versus 3. But Poise is on a pretty quick flank, and he's been a monster so far.
He would have the opportunity as well with the defenders coming from the front to maybe use the null command here, but he's going to get a free one at Okeanos. Now the flash to follow to try to deny the hit, and now the null command finally comes through. Knife to get some awareness. Oh, but he actually peeks a little bit too soon. Harmful takes the easy win. Cloudburst goes down. Rossi on the corner clears out the furthest forward defenders, and Baby Bay lands, leaving just one. It's Harmful at range. He does not have an angle on the diffuser unless he peeks after Baby Bay. And well, that will now. Wow, an 11-1 half. FaZe just indomitable on Pearl.
Yeah, it's one of those things where even though Poise didn't get the frag, he at least created enough presence to free up his teammates to come from the other side, and they're the ones who get the job done. But Poise, again, a man on fire from start to finish. He helped win the pistol round despite Turtle Troop getting some early territory, and then just throughout the course of the half was lighting up the kill feed time and time again. Even in dire situations for FaZe, where Turtle Troop were closing in on B side and they had all the space and all the advantages, Poise would pop off something and just reel it back in for his team to try to keep this series going.
Yeah.
And it looks like a Mat 3 is certainly on the horizon unless Turtle Troop can make some crazy things happen here in the second half.
Yeah, I'll say. Okay, have to have the pistol. That much is for sure. And they're gonna go quick. Nebula's in place for this. The knife is also there, but once more, just like you're on offense, if you commit past pillar on the defensive side, you best be able to win out your gunfights. Otherwise, things like this will happen.
Great shock dart there from Rossi to finish off Governor, who's trapped in the corner and was detected.
Good grief. Okay.
See you later.
Yep, I would say that's about the time to make that call. Spike planted. Adder and Okeanos just hoping to pull something off. To be fair, there are 4 very low health pools, so it is still doable, but how do you get in, I think, is the first problem, considering that there's no more utility left. And, well, you just got to have that kill. No other way of saying it.
A FaZe in form is such a scary thing because of the aggressive playstyle that they play. And so when everyone's feeling it and the confidence is there, and they're actually syncing their utility properly, they can just come at you like a wave, and there's just nothing you can do to stop it. And that's what you saw that round. Just the shock darts coming in from Rossi, the space they were able to take so quickly, then they're just out-fragging you, outclassing you all throughout this map. And this is the FaZe we were more hoping to see. This is the FaZe from last year that was, you know, sitting towards top 4 in the region. This is what they were known for, and we're seeing it here on Pearl and Spades.
I'll say. So here we go. Last chance saloon for Turtle Troop. And defensively, they are just going to rely on star placements to hold off anything towards A, as there was an initial aggression set up towards mid. Try to see what was going on. But Supa will collect the orb, and that will be all that FaZe were really guided towards moving over towards the A side of the map.
Yeah, certainly not committing anything too early there, just grabbing that orb. They know that Turtle Troop's the one that has to take initiative, has to try to do something risky, push, overstack, something along those lines. And so FaZe just need to try to stick together, use their utility, be smart, and not fall for any of those sorts of traps.
Well, FaZe have the stack now, and clearance of the entirety of the site. The Nanostorm is the only thing denying any entry towards halls. And, oh, actually, Poise gets caught with a
Didn't like
flash
that.
out.
Didn't like that.
Was a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
Okay. Shots are landing, but the problem is, how do you get them to land now as you have 2 Bulldogs and Vandal looking down at you? Tags do come through. Harmful's just sticking, though. No one's looking at the spike. No pings are down, no pre-fires down, and Adder's gonna get the ace with the Sheriff as a little bit of icing on the cake, but still adds just an impressive round of only 2. So let's enjoy the moment, but also still remember what still has to happen.
Yeah, there's a very long hill that still needs to be climbed for Turtle Troop to really risk FaZe's lead. But again, I just didn't like that from Poise. It seemed unnecessary to just dry peek. You've already taken the entirety of the site. You're getting the spike down. You have firepower advantage, especially at range. Just play long B. Don't even worry about it. Don't sweat it, the link position, or at least flash before you peek.
Agreed.
Instead of just swinging out wide left and then having a flash out. That was just a little bit of carelessness that caught him.
Now, eco advantage over to Turtle Troop, but not just pistols. A little more punishing. Okay. We'll see that in slow motion again, but that's just a little bit of bless of the spray pattern right there from Harmful. Works out to still go 2 for 1. Rossi substitutes up to a Phantom. Or pardon me, a Ghost. Wrong Spectre. Ghoul, rather, because
3 on 3, though, all of a sudden. And look, they have access to Art. If they can get past Okeanos, all of a sudden things get a little bit scary here. Okeanos is forced to retreat back. He does have support, though, from WeDid, who has rotated. The Link just being watched by Adder on the opposing side of the map.
No charges.
Weapons are starting to get picked up here as well. Stingers now in the hands of Superman and Poise. This is not a foregone conclusion for Turtle Troop all of a sudden, despite the way the round started.
Could possibly be figured out off of this interact here. Double stack.
30 seconds left.
It will be 1 for 1. It's a Vandal on the hands. Okeanos is not terribly far away, and it looks like FaZe Clan are trying to push right through his line of sight, which they do get through, at least for now. And they're going to try to force the issue, and it's working out. Okay, hold on a second. Adder's going to give away his position, but after the ace last round, oh, it's a 1v2. Spike.
10 seconds left.
Adder will allow him to pick it up. Maybe not fully intentional. Now the spike is planted. Guessing game. 50-50 on the corner. Does he get the timing and the read? There's the shoulder. Snap not quite going to land. Time being killed off. But Adder, no problem. Turtle Troop stay now on 3.
A little bit dicey, but they do get it done. Certainly FaZe made that punishing, though, and considering they already have themselves at map point, rounds like that are even more stressful for a team like Turtle Troop, who know just how much they have to do to get this to overtime. You really want some clean wins to start building that confidence. That was their opportunity to do so after such a great early spray here for Harmful. Just rocking them quickly there. But FaZe battling back with some good peaks. Keeping it close. I thought Adder was slipped when he got off the spike hold. When he stopped watching it, I thought maybe he was in some trouble, but once up in the 1v1 anyway.
All right, Lock is the only ultimate in play this upcoming full buy for both squads. FaZe taking their time, not really even leaving their spawn at the moment. Maybe trying to see what exactly Turtle Troop want to spend for early utility. It's just the opening knife. There's the Nebula behind it, but the Owl Drone will scout everything over towards Pillar, saying, yep, no one's home. We can move if we want to. But Harmful is just all just a little bit of a trap. He's got the operator up. Does he catch an angle? Flash will keep him off the angle for now. But FaZe are still just stacking up.
Yeah, the pressure from FaZe also already burnt his tailwind, so
yeah,
done a pretty good job about kind of limiting his options and mobility going forward. And again, they haven't overcommitted in any sort of way. They still have presence at middle. They're already at long B pillar. Dicey has a little sneaky cam there, kind of keeping tabs over towards link rotation. Great dagger there is going to suppress Harmful, force him back.
Oh, he just gets caught, not sure how he wants to hold the angle. Scope gets brought up, gets brought back down. Not a lot of commitment there. And with that FaZe on for free, Little Command will be here to respond. As Poise is looking just to, once again, create a little bit more of a distraction in time. Far stacking up.
Did you
they'll have an
notice that
right back into lockdown.
Notice Poise used Fragment on Link instead of peeking at that time as well. So definitely, you know, learning the lesson and making sure they get that nice post-plant defense at the back of long B.
Okay, now can you possibly get this going? Governor will not be able to get it to halfway. Dicey on the long flank. Back through Link. No one's watching it. They turn. Halfway is what it gets to for Governor. Cyber cages are down. Once again, FaZe not spamming it. They're looking for the kill, but it does get the few away. Oh. Oh no.
Yeah, Dicey decides to take the fight on the player off the spike as opposed to the one defusing it, which allows it to get to halfway. And it just turns into a crazy situation where everyone's trying to find the right time to peak, but FaZe fall behind in the race, and Turtle Troop sneak yet through another defuse. Again, I thought they did a lot better this time around without setting up their post plant, with Poise fragmenting B-Link and falling back instead of pushing it. But they still dropped the ball and putting it across the finish line.
Scanning ahead.
Small little slip-ups.
Luckily, they have a lot of breathing room still.
Exactly. I mean, the foot off the gas, the car in cruise control is one thing, but it's not getting fully out of hand yet. But this is a good prediction as the defending lockdown comes through. Intersection going to tally up elimination by way of the Nano Swarm. Baby Bay will neutralize the lockdown, so the full commitment for FaZe will get them on towards site. More action over through Secret. Talent is further eliminations to favor up FaZe. Positive Divide will try to keep the raid, but a kill still collected. Gets us to an early 3v3. The Neural Theft may be changing the tide a touch, but we still stay even in kills. And Dice is kind of stuck right here on site. It's just his spy cam to watch his back. Blades are out. Harmful's going to go up, but doesn't check the close corner. And with that, FaZe will finally put this one on reach.
Imagine being Dicey in the camera and you just see this guy about to jump you with the blade storm. He's like, better get off that camera about now. Get my gun back out. FaZe able to eventually dot the I's and cross the T's on that one after such a hot start.
Yeah.
Always in control of the game. Yeah, maybe they slipped on a couple of banana peels along the way, but at the end, it never really got scary for them. They still maintained a big lead even through some of their mishaps and ultimately close out the map in dominant fashion.
Agreed. And, well, after not seeing FaZe play the map really at all, ever, I think we can walk away with some convincing tallies. First and foremost, Poise is pretty good.
He is pretty good.
That's a good learned lesson. And Baby Bay with the operator leading things up. That's good prospects, I think, for FaZe fans, knowing that Ascent's coming up from map 3.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, on the other front, Turtle Troop are going to have to find a way to regain after their map selection was dominantly taken away from them after they were able to salvage away and sneak away on FaZe map pick of Fracture. First, looking pretty impressive. A lot of things for us to kind of tally favorably toward Turtle Troop. Now the question starts to resurface on how deep does the playbook go going into one of our more traditional and probably one of our more played maps of Ascent here, Dust.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a map that FaZe have typically been comfortable on in the past, so that kind of helps them out a little bit, I would think, although that didn't turn out to really come to fruition onto Fracture. Maybe it will be so for Ascent. Turtle Troop, again, a team that no problems playing this map as well, and we've seen kind of the good, bad, the ugly from both teams so far at some point in time throughout this series, and so now it's all going to come down to that third map to figure out who is going to get their first win of the season.
It's an important one. Don't want to be sitting down in 6th place by yourself. So must-win situation for both teams trying to get into the group competitively right off the rip. We'll have Tanner join us at the backside of the break for a set and some more breakdown on Pearl. Don't go anywhere.
To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems. A full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows, one of only a handful in the universe, or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal, because we know just how much your collection means to you.
It feels like I'm still kind of saying goodbye before the agent select and you guys take Pearl because it's just over like that. Welcome back, everybody, to the Knights Arena Valorant Challengers, where FaZe Shift looked like FaZe. Welcome back. They're awake now.
After the first map came, but I think the thing about this FaZe Clan team is you expect them to be able to stay competitive throughout a series, even if a first map doesn't go their way, even if it is their map selection. I think the biggest thing about it is we did see them try to execute a little bit differently than what they were trying to do on Fracture. I think there were some maybe curiosities when FaZe try to continue to force the need, still find some value on this map. Seeing Baby go over to a Jet, create a little bit more distance between himself and his opponents, and then also land with the operator. Yeah, big difference here overall. I mean, you kind of see it tallied in the First Bloods first and foremost, but on the other side, just to kind of throw it out there for you guys to run away with, TTR needs to figure out how to hold a post plant. Out of the 12 rounds we got, they were successful. When they were able to spike down, it just came down to not being able to hold it afterwards. 4 rounds in a row, they weren't able to hold the post plant, which is never fun when you're on the offensive side.
Well, yeah, and to that point, Dust, I mean, it was Superman, really, a lot of the time, who was long flanking through the attacker side at spawn that did so much to disrupt Turtle Troop, excuse me, and a stat that was brought up in the first map, I think by Shift, where it was 10% of the rifle rounds, rifle versus rifle, were won, which is abysmal, unfortunately, for Turtle Troop. We kind of saw that again here on Pearl, where I think a lot of the rounds where they were getting that spike planted and even being set up in post-plant Dust were eco buys, were stinger rounds, right? They never really had kind of a full force arsenal.
No, I mean, FaZe picked up and ran with the game right from the start, you know, just playing that aggressive game plan, but doing so very effectively. Defensively in the first half, they were very good at kind of absorbing the pressure troops were putting out, but still being able to maintain control of critical areas to set up their own retakes defensively. And it's something that you kind of mentioned as well, Tanner, give you credit to this, is talking about the complete change in composition between their win over OR Esports and their game here against FaZe. I don't know if it was to try to throw FaZe off, since they themselves, Troop, didn't have any footage they could go and watch of FaZe, so in that sense they were probably flying blind. Maybe they were trying to throw FaZe a different look, since FaZe would have probably scouted that game that they played against OR Esports. So I don't know if that was part of it, or if they just felt like they could still be successful with the new composition, since some of these guys on this Turtle Troop team certainly have played a lot of different agent pools in their histories on their past teams. Whatever the case may be, it clearly didn't come together for them, as they were well behind throughout the entirety of the game for the most part, other than like a couple little like tricky rounds where they got a couple little wins in the middle of the game, but they never really threatened FaZe's lead for real.
It's one of those things that we could kind of summarize all of this with another kind of eco stat that's kind of thrown into it. Yeah, 10% win rate last week when they were running the full rounds, that's terrible. That's really, really bad. But even worse than that, they were playing the vast majority of their rounds at an eco disadvantage. They went 3 and 13 in eco disadvantage rounds, and those 16 rounds were far more than any other squad through week number 1. So that just goes to show that not only are they not winning those full buy rounds, but they're playing their games, like Dust is mentioning, on the back foot way more often than anybody else is at the moment. That's a problem, and we saw it kind of resurface again throughout Pearl. Getting into the conversation of Ascent, this is a team that needs to come out and find an advantage and then hold it. That was one of their big win conditions when we kind of saw them on the first map when we were playing on Fracture. They were better in the full versus full rounds, and they were converting when they had advantages economically. That has to be part of it, because that's just core Valorant. Like, you want to play the game when you're at full strength. Only win 10% of the time at full strength. That's never a great statistic when it comes to playing up against a team like FaZe.
And so I don't know if you guys in the chat noticed, it's the last thing that we showed was the economy chart. And at the blue line at first, if you go back and take a look at it, that was all FaZe, and it was just rising and then drops off, obviously, at the pistol. And then the Turtle Troop, it was up, it was down, it was up, it was down. They never really kind of got their feet under them to be able to play. Okay, it actually sounds like we're going to get it again, so we can actually take a look and you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is, it looks like FaZe goes up and then dies because they flatline a little bit, but that's good in Valorant. That's good for your economy. You want it to be up there around 25,000 all the time. Meanwhile, it looked like for Turtle Troop, they were alive and well. A little bit of a murmur in the middle there, but up and down, absolutely not good. But this is, again, Pearl is still kind of a tricky map. I don't think we're in a world where teams have quite figured this out. We saw a whole lot of different things on the international stages and all of that, but fortunately, we do have a map that should be cemented, should be figured out. We don't know what FaZe are going to do because they've been doing some pretty crazy things, but we know Turtle Troop go back to the tried and true on this one. It's map number 3, it's Ascent, and the Agent Select are ready for you, Shift and Dust. It's all yours. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Tanner. Appreciate it. It's one of those things, and I hope that you guys at home can at least take some bits and pieces of all of the information that was just thrown out there, because there are a lot of things to consider, whether it's how you stack up your composition, whether you're finding value out of things like ultimates, or just how the economy starts to move. You know, that graph addition to the graphics package I actually really like a lot, because it's just a different way to look at the game than I think we've really ever displayed before. Something to kind of keep in mind as we get into the Agent Select. Rossi has been great on Sova so far. He'll bring that back into the mix, and then the Fade comes out for Poise. Any early thoughts here from you, Dust?
Yeah, my early thoughts is coming into Ascent is I don't really know if Troop is really a strong Ascent team or not. I mean, they didn't really play it that much in the qualification process. I think the only game like I recall was when they beat YFP on Ascent. But outside of that, every other, like the last 4 or 5 best of 3s they played in qualifiers, Ascent was not a part of it. They also didn't play Ascent last week. So I just don't have enough of a read on them since this team is so new with this roster coming together from a bunch of different teams, like a bunch of different little pieces put together to create the Turtle Troop, that I don't have a read on how well they can play this map, to be honest with you. Whereas FaZe, historically speaking, has usually been pretty solid in this map. It hasn't been as strong as their Fracture or their Breeze, but it was a map that they were certainly contending with the top teams on a regular basis on, and being able to, you know, have a positive win rate. Like they were like a little over 60%. So, you know, if you're going that route, you kind of favor FaZe just a smidge.
Okay. I like that call. So now it comes down to the execution pans out, as we're going to get on the offense first and foremost. Governor on the KO is going to be definitely a hot topic player to watch out for, as the defensive phase starts stacked at B, but have a lot of focus towards mid-map here. Blind early shock dart also towards mid, just trying to keep FaZe interested to any potential early aggression. But there is none here. Lots of utility spent from FaZe to confirm that. And now you look at Turtle Troop on the engagement over towards the A site. Here comes the full burst, and FaZe will have to structure a retake.
Yeah, classic A burst with Harmful jumping top generator with the smoke, and now settles in underneath Heaven position as the spike goes down and the door closes. Like you said, FaZe are going to be forced to play retake here. They're going to have to do it really from limited fronts because the flank is being watched by Adder.
Yeah. Heavy stack over towards Tree. Governor really gets caught on the cross. Tagged down to 67 HP. And Swarm denied any entryway possible contest. And now Governor on the shoulder. Maybe they sees this and will confirm the first kill. Also has information on the player over towards the boxes, and FaZe are breaking this down flawlessly. Turtle Troop not holding a candle to the retake. After by himself is blocked by the Nebula. And as clinical as you'd ever expect from FaZe.
Yeah, that was really well done. Even though they had no flank coming through long side, they did have a pretty strong tree presence as well as being able to come through Heaven. They timed it together perfectly. They moved together as a unit. As Baby Bay gets that first frag on to Governor, it kind of just opens the floodgates. They get detection on the site as well and handle that really nicely, only losing one member along the way.
Yeah. Okay. Clean stuff from FaZe. An outage, as you would expect, should lead to hopefully a comfortable round, but we've seen Turtle Troop at least be contestable with Sheriffs in hand, especially when Adder's involved, so don't want to throw away any considerations for a round 2 bounce back here.
Too suppressed.
Yeah, tough one here for TTRs. They don't have much to work with. FaZe have everything at their disposal, and they're getting aggressive on all fronts. And Baby Bay finds the headshot on the Governor with that Sheriff all that is left to do is for Turtle Troop to just go ahead and try to at least get this spike down on A, but past that, winning the round, gonna be a much taller task considering what they're working with.
I'll absolutely say that, for sure. But like you mentioned, there is the spike planted. Is poised, long range, takes down Harmful. Haunt will go out, trying to scout this out, but Superman will not need much help out of the utility. Quick on the regain. FaZe go into an investor flawless, and up 2-0 with only really forfeiting a very marginalized plant. It's going to be a true opponent coming up next.
Indeed, it shall be. Mostly SMGs, just the Ares. Though, maybe they kept the Sheriff that round, so he does have option to full buy here. Could even get Operator early if he wants to. Decides no. Buys himself a Phantom and as well drops a Spectre to somebody. So, well, I don't know. He's making his mind up. He hasn't made his mind up. What is he doing? Like he's buying and selling back. What are you doing? Yeah. He's keeping the Sheriff. Is apparently the last call.
Literally every
keeping that 4,200 credits. Yeah.
He's literally every customer's rep's worst nightmare.
Bro, do you want it or not?
Just pick it.
I got it wrapped up.
Here comes the threat from Troop over towards B. Lots of utility still in the way of this, while the defense for FaZe is going to clear out tree and a little bit of mid with the allotted drone off screen. And those nanoswarms are a bit inconvenient at least. So now the defense is going to have a pretty good surround of this. Superman, if he could find one, it'd be great. And wow, he actually does way more than that. He's got help from beyond, and finally takes Okeanos for the trades, but Turtle Troop just kind of stuck in molasses. Not sure what they wanted to do once they got through B main arch.
They could just not clear that man out the back of the site. Obviously, the nanoswarms were part of it. You know, they ate some damage, they slowed them down. But even after that, they could just not take Superman down. They were spamming him through the wall. Superman was staying alive. He gets a frag. He starts getting some help. And FaZe went out the trades. And Baby Bay has so much money now because he just kept the Sheriff for 3 rounds. He had 4,200 credits in the bank. So he bought a Vandal. And he's still got 5,500 credits in reserve if need be, and they're going to build that war chest up even more. Probably this round as Turtle Trooper only on Sheriffs. Wow. They could be coming up with not only a big lead on the scoreboard, but also just a massive economy.
Absolutely. And again, it just harkens back to what we were talking about in between map 2 and map 3. This is a Turtle Troop squad that already had enough when they're playing at a disadvantage. I mean, you're just delaying and delaying and delaying any chance for Troop to possibly not just get into a fight, but being able to win a full versus full round still has them playing at even footing. It's not great news here as the alarm bot is down. Baby Bay gonna get not just 1 but 2 shoulders.
Spike
damage
down,
from Poised,
mid.
also able to assist, and the spike is now down. Oh boy, it just goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, lots of utility here as well to just keep them off of this spike and allow FaZe to press even more forward. Adder reps 1. Governor chips in as well, but it's still a 3-on-1 in the end for FaZe, and Governor does not have spike possession as he comes through from the site itself. He's just trying to see if he can find a fight, but they're not going to give him one. They're so well set up on this spike.
Gotta find a way to regain your troop. Flash out. Or on the corner. No, can't even get the first. Baby Bay for 3. So now you get to the point where if you're Turtle Troop, I mean, we have to have a conversation at this point, and a lot of it is just, you have got to make a commitment. I mean, you're stuck kind of trying to enter into B last time around. I mean, you're letting FaZe just get a lay of the land, and they're just overwhelming, like just flat out from the positions they're able to gain for free.
Yeah, FaZe are definitely pushing the extremities very well or being aggressive at middle, and FaZe is not going to stop doing that. That's the thing. So Turtle Troop are going to have to find a way to counter, either with their own, you know, skirmish for an extremity that they can win, or maybe they're the ones trying to dictate the pace at middle. Again, on the attacking side, mid control can be so pivotal. You smoke off the catwalk, you can even smoke deep or shallow middle. It allows you to get out B-Link into open space, then you can start threatening market and defensive spawn, and that's when FaZe has to start to respect you. And this is exactly what Turtle Troop has done this round. Look at how deep Harmful is.
Yeah.
Rossi's ready, though.
All it takes is 1. Spike is not a part of this play behind you. Owl drone's out. Poised is in a position to try to challenge us, and that's all you need to know. Is that
Great
they're
drone.
Far forward. Recon bolt to make sure there is no further push through. It actually allows FaZe to get stacked up. 3 man.
Love this.
To actually hit this. All it takes is maybe 1 flash or Poised. It's just going to be a dry peek to come out. Prowler's out. That will confirm that Okeanos is still nearby, but this is taking so much time off the clock, and no one has the spike still for Turtle Troop.
Nah, it's been left behind over towards B Link. Now they're trying to threaten over towards Tree. They are going to be able to smoke that off, so that means Poise is having to play from behind that, but he is going to be able to put the Hawk over the top to still get the info. Superman has a star set up as well, but we did. He actually finds the entry. They're able to start making their way through with that spike, but Poise could still play spoiler if he spans correctly through the smoke. Unable to do so, however.
But Baby Bay on the backside through Archway. He's going to stall at the plant a little further. Dark cover down. Baby Bay existing inside. The reveal comes out, and oh, Rossi nearly followed up, but Weeded saves a life. So now it's on to Poise from the corner and Baby Bay from behind. They push out both simultaneously. Much better for Turtle Troop that time through, even though it looked pretty dire at moments in time in the round.
Yeah, they were kind of getting slowed down at Tree, but they were able to keep that smoke up, keep Poised at bay, and get into A side. And while Baby Bay did have control of A main, which is a real big problem, they limited him quite a lot, just to one frag. I thought he would get a second on the reveal through the smoke, but wound up getting flanked instead and missed his shot. And so Turtle Troop able to finally put one on the board.
Okay. But you got to show us more than just one round here for Turtle Troop. Because again, like you mentioned, the pockets are deep, especially for Rossi, still at 4,700.
You cannot let that happen.
No, no way. Maybe he just walks in.
There is no way Baby Bay should just be able to walk out middle and peek B Link like that. You need to be using your utility to control that area. You need to be blocking him, flashing him, taking that space for yourself. Instead, they're so focused on one extremity that it allows space between the cracks that they've established.
Now information for Supa that Harmful's got an off nearby. Shock Dart will push him out, but the Nebula allows him a chance to move forward without getting any further. Aldrin over the top, and now Supa's in a little bit of trouble here, feeling the pressure, but look at the health. FaZe is already here on Heaven. Nightfall will come through. That will stall things out. Touch. Harmful will drop. And for Troop, they're in pieces. There's player on site, player deep towards main. The spike's not a part of the play at all. And now it's Adder for a 1v4 from Tree, which I believe Rossi may have just seen him. Hard to say. He's not looking at him fully, but Soup is watching it. Yeah. Now that will confirm the intel.
It's one of those things where it's okay on the attacking side to want to have a little bit more focus on a particular extremity. Maybe you just want that lobby control. Maybe you want the orb, whatever the case may be. But the problem is that there's so much of an absence of presence from Troop on any other side of the map that FaZe are always taking those gaps away from them. You know, that round it's just Baby Bay pushing through middle and getting an op frag onto B Link, and that way, hey, they know where you are. They know that you're not mid. Right. They know that they've now slowed down any type of progress you were looking to make towards B lobby, and they can now be prepared for that A attack when it comes in. Turtle Troop need to do a better job, I think, on having a more balanced map control to these early round situations, or they need to be able to explode right away.
And it's just a bit curious to see them having the struggles in that department, considering the comp that they've got. Like, you should be able to spend some of this early utility.
Yes.
And it's just hesitant to use anything, maybe thinking they need to value a heavy stack of utility for their engagements. But here we go. Lockdown in. A lot of utility still in the face of all of this, and the defensive area is actually going to cut across the map. That will put a little bit of pressure, not just on the lockdown itself, which gets destroyed, but also the members that were still kind of hanging out and hunkered down over through the main archway. Hit still on the way. Poise takes care of the first Harmful, and then, I mean, this is just a one-dimensional defense, and not a single kill can come through. The weapons weren't great, but still.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're Turtle Troop and you're flying blind because you're just, you know, fully set on, hey, we're going to lock down A, we're going to send it, you know, with our smokes, our flashes, we're going to dash in with our jet, we're going to make things happen. But again, FaZe is pushing out B lobby. They're keeping presence on middle, so they read you like a book at that point, and they're able to set up that three-man defense at the back of the site, destroy the lockdown, and then just out-frag you, just run you through the blender. And Turtle Troop are about to maybe commit the exact same foul, but just on the opposite end of the map. They're about to fly blind into B against a bunch of Killjoy utility.
Yeah. Flashes are out. Baby Bay's got the out, but he does have to forfeit the position up top. Rossi playing deep is just going to hold down her. Null Command also a part of this for the offense, as Turtle Trooper again just trying to push their way in. With the mighty force of many. Baby Bay somehow still alive for a lot longer than you would have anticipated. Adder tapping away. 3 shots, 3 headshots. And now all of a sudden Poise is by himself, and it's to be a very difficult 1v3. At least he's cleared out this B main area that he used.
Yeah, he pretty much knows they're all on site, but knowing is half the battle. Or on this case, 33% of it.
A third of the battle.
1v3. Yeah.
Recon Bolt. Not fully going to reveal, but, well, no time better than now. Around the corner, nothing there. Okay.
Big thrifty.
Yeah, I'll say. And a lot of it coming out of the adder 3-piece. I mean, just watching the rotation. Okay.
It's one of those things where I feel like throughout the course of this series, Babyface either been hot or cold with the op. He's either hitting everything throughout the course of the round or he's missing everything throughout the course of the round. In this situation, he's not able to get much done from the back of the, sight, and rotations aren't able to get there. And when they do, Adder just chops him down with the Guardian.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a consistent way to win, though, if you're Turtle Troop. I'd like to, again, see a little bit more mid-control out of them in these early round situations to start pressuring multiple areas of the map at once to not let FaZe get comfortable with these pushes on the extremities.
Baby Bay right through mid this time. You've got Turtle Troop. Utility actually forces Baby Bay forward instead of back. FaZe is going to have to come save a life. They're not going to be able to. Much better this time for Troop. And how about the second shot from Harmful? Catches Rossi before he could cross away. And now Turtle Troop all over mid. And a chance to still threaten over towards B main.
That's what we've been looking for from Turtle Troop, is a little bit more of a dynamic offense where they're, actually able to, keep tabs on the extremities, keep that pressure applied on some of these main areas, but also dictate the pace at middle to not allow Baby Bay and the rest of FaZe to have that free reign. Now they're the ones controlling the map right now. They have the intel advantage. They now have, of course, a 2-man advantage. This is much better from Turtle Troop.
Defense still in a position to possibly respond, though. Paranoia is not going to land, but they check the corner very wisely. Supa inside the side gets 3, about 4 from Supa. What in the world is that? Adder, last one left. Somehow called upon to go 1v2, and he provides. As Marvin Gaye once famously said, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, good start to the round from Turtle Troop. Obviously getting the initial 5-on-3. Again, good mid-presence to start, but then Superman just tees off for 4. I'm a little surprised that after he got that 4th kill that he didn't tuck in and kind of just play the 2-on-1 with Dicey, who was in heaven. Again, it's like one of those things where you want to praise him for his individual abilities to grab those first 4 frags, but then it's just like, again, something that FaZe sometimes struggles with is the finer details to finish things off. And I feel like if he tucks in behind Generator, he's got low health. You got Dicey for support now. You can kind of just slow everything down, but instead, he kind of keeps himself exposed. He forces Dicey into a 1v1, and Adder ultimately comes up on top.
Wow. How do you even
what a weird
digest
round.
what just happened?
I tried my best.
I mean, yeah. Oh. Okay, so a FaZe timeout as Turtle Troop start to gain a little bit of progress done now all of a sudden. You've got some tools to work with as well in this next offense, most notably the lockdown Hunter's Fury, in which they're Hunter's Fury to respond for FaZe this time around. So
exactly.
Maybe that's the key piece to the puzzle for this round 10 for Turtle Troop.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you can lock down to get yourself into a site. If there's a counter lockdown, you just blow it away with the Hunter's Fury, and all of a sudden you're on top controlling the site. This is one of those few times where maybe mid-control isn't as much of a priority as much as it is about getting the lockdown down as quickly as you can to get that site.
Yeah.
Take flight.
Okay. Things to look for. Turtle Troop are going to send 4 out of 5 over towards main area. Aldrone very early on going to show some pressure. And that will lead to maybe a lockdown. But the spike is not a part of this. So is this more of Turtle Troop looking to possibly pull a bit of a fake once again?
Hard to say. I mean, they're doing all the right things to control the B side itself. Hunter's Fury also paving a way forward. Nice little gravity well, though, there to slow down Turtle Troop from getting onto site. And Rossi actually gets a frag out into middle.
That's the spike carrier. And they get a follow-up. That is just the absolute worst-case scenario. I started to wince and have some panic in my voice for a moment there because Governor was pulling the cheeky flank through mid in the face of all that utility saying, hey, look over here, but your spike carrier dropping? I mean, Shoe's not on the other foot anymore. It's in a different community. I don't even know what to say. This is just a complete turnaround.
I can't get down with your spike carrier being mid on a B attack with a lockdown. Like, bring it the safe route, the B lobby route that you know that you have control of, and you know that the lockdown is clearing out the site. You know, your Hunter's Fury is cutting off the backhaul's rotation, and like that should be your focus all of a sudden. Not the spike coming through market. And I mean, FaZe, man, make them pay for that mistake. I can't for the life of me understand why you would do that.
Because realistically speaking, Spike could just run forward there. I mean, you have Hunter's Fury to clear out the B market areas.
Exactly. There's no reason the Spike should
plan.
not. Yeah, you got to be bringing the Spike through B lobby when you have that lockdown Hunter's Fury combination. There's no counter to your lockdown available for FaZe. You just bring that puppy in, knowing that the only place that someone can be is the very back of B corner, you know, waiting out the lockdown. But more than likely, they've backed all the way off and they're playing retake because your Hunter's Fury in the back hall, so you can't get any support. So, I mean, that would just tell you, yeah, bring the Spike through B lobby all day long. That's a tough one for me to understand.
Yeah. Cataclysmic mistake. And just like that, all the momentum is completely squashed because that was an expensive round on multiple fronts. Ultimate
Like, where do you think FaZe is going to be in that lockdown?
Exactly.
Of course they're going to be middle. That's the only place they can be where they're not going to get locked down. Like, oh, man.
Yeah, it's just a fumble.
That's a head-scratcher.
Yeah. Because
I hate being negative like that, but
no,
I just I don't know a positive spin on that. It's just overlooking the finer details.
And I mean, realistically, you put the Spike on literally anybody else, the play still has a chance of succeeding.
Yep.
So
I don't mind a late mid lurk. You know that.
Sure.
But to bring the Spike that way, oof. Now they're on stingers only here this round. A chance for FaZe to start building up that big lead. They're looking to maybe use some match stars to get aggressive as well here on the A lobby side of FaZe.
Okay. How about this?
Send it.
Just run it. Run it with stingers. Little run and gun strat. And that haunt is going to stop everything. Nightfall also on top. Yes, you've got tree control, but at what cost? A lot of damage already tallied up. And it's just one of those things that, how do you get through the rest of this defensive setup, even if you're in this position? And the answer is apparently you don't really with all that much success. You do get a couple of kills through tree, but now Dicey's on site. He's got help nearby above him, and then you've also been Baby Bay looking to possibly play late routes.
Spike down A.
Yeah.
One enemy
Not great
remaining.
news. Not great news.
Yeah, Dicey played some smart angles there at the back of the site, always just kind of dodging and weaving the attack as was coming in through main and tree position. Obviously, a great use of utility from Poise to shut that tree attack down. Make it come to a screeching halt to buy time for rotations, and FaZe now up 8-3, 1 round left to play in the half. Full buy for both sides. Not really too many ults available for either side coming into this.
Spike down A.
But FaZe just look the more refined team on this map. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep.
They're doing everything you should be doing defensively on this map.
Great. Yeah.
And Turtle Troop are just not really making the most of the attacking side as far as playing the mid-map control and, you know, being a little bit more, I guess, tidy with how they're attacking these sites.
Well, the other thing on top of that, if you really wanted to layer, like, it's fine if you overwhelm and flood from the extremities, but you still have to throw utility mid-map to keep FaZe interested.
Oh,
and
boy.
oh gosh, that's just a reveal of the ages as Rossi tees off for the opening kill, and Turtle Troop once more gets stuffed, now having to force their way into a 4v5 and with a lot of knowledge here for FaZe.
Oh, wow.
Coming through. Okeano's fortunate to still pull a kill away, as Baby Bay now has to go to work by himself inside the site, shorty in hand. Good prediction on WeDid. Dashes out looking for the Reddit clip, but eventually gets put down. We have a 2v2 with even weaponry.
Indeed, we do. Spike hasn't gotten put down just yet, which is buying a little bit more time. Alarm bot already taken care of on the stairwell as well from Poise there. This is buying a lot of time for Superman to make that B lobby flank. Poise, though, takes a lot of damage right there. Needs to be careful.
Gaza divides out. It forces the defense to either have to play behind the barrier or stay in front and force the gunfights. FaZe are taking their time on trying to break this down, waiting for a little bit more utility. Seas will actually lock up WeDid, who's now revealed behind this box. This should be some pretty good information. Gets the opener, now a 1v1, and Super will take it, because of course he will. If you just tuned in, he's already put together a stunning first 3 map, and FaZe Clan will exit the half 9-3 up.
And that's what you like to see, because look, when Superman first joined FaZe, he struggled initially. You know, he was a guy when he was on Rise who was a very strong fragging player in that controller role. And so it was something that FaZe really could get a lot of use out of. But when they first picked him up, it kind of took him a while to get started. But once we hit like the latter part of the group stage last year, as well as throughout playoffs, the man was on fire. Like, he became one of the best fraggers on the team next to Dicey, and really became a huge reason of why they were able to make that push towards the top 4 of the region. He had a tough week 1, but this is a man that we've come to love now, shown up here in this series against Turtle Troop with 16 frags in the first half.
Oh, yeah. Okay, swap the sides, and once more we kind of go down the road of Turtle Troop needs to win this opening pistol to have a shot at it, you feel like. Otherwise, we're looking at force buys pretty much through and through. Just never great news from the defensive side of any map, let alone Ascent.
FaZe right now just kind of gearing up for some type of A lobby control. They also are watching, though, for any types of push towards B with Dicey's turret. They also do have some presence top middle here with Baby Bay. So they're kind of, you know, keeping all their lines of sight open right now.
Interesting call. Repossessing the star placement does put Superman over towards Wine. He's pretty committed in this position. Will not connect onto him, and that's enough for Turtle Troop saying he's collected his stars. They're going to go B. So the defense starts to is not the correct call, but you can see.
Yeah, it looks like a really good A split brewing here for FaZe through tree and through lobby side, and everything defensively is really more towards tree, and it's now smoked off, so FaZe are able to bypass all of that, grab a kill on their way in as well.
And that's a kill through smoke, by the way. That's just run and gun situation with the ghosts that lands, just going FaZe Clan's way. Shock Dart did not predict the correct spike location. Recon Dart also deep with B denied instantaneously. Rossi's on 1 point of health, but everybody else fully healthy here for FaZe in the 5v4. Troop stacking up, looking to go 2-2. Paranoia in, corner cross, just not the kills fast enough. Still an opportunity, though, as Weeded stays alive. He's got Superman now in front of another clutch situation, and Super provides again. It's just par for the course at this point.
Yeah, just a well-designed split there from FaZe. I mean, you know, have full presence all across the map, watching B lobby, you know, taking control of middle with Rossi, able to make their way up tree position. Superman has A lobby control, so they have everything taken care of to set that foundation to launch onto site. Defense is kind of just caught up in tree. They're smoked. They don't really have a way to stop the push. And FaZe out-trade their way to victory. And once again, they have a massive lead. Very reminiscent to Pearl. Coming to this with a couple of rifles and 3 Spectres.
Yeah. Have to have it. Thrifty would give you a chance to start talking about maybe economical advantages in the future to maybe set up and stage what would be an unreal comeback.
Bring them down.
But a lot on top of the economy would have to start going right for Turtle Troop, who have largely not put up too much resistance against a well-balanced FaZe team. And I will say it's just been a dominant display from Supa and Poise, making Baby Bay's life so much easier this week.
Right now, FaZe just being very careful to make sure that they aren't getting pushed. They are going to go ahead and spot that aggression from Harmful inside mid, thanks to Rossi's drone. So just making sure they don't fall prey to any gimmicks. Oops. That Prowler was a miss. It was a miss. But Rossi still gets the frag nonetheless, so it's no problem. Superman catch up. We did, trying to peek middle, and so everything's kind of falling into place for FaZe.
And all that was just right clicks of a classic. Harmful saying, here I am, and there's just no help beyond to get him out. Flashes come through, but Okeanos was tagged up to a shock dart, and it's really, the story just continues to get threaded together.
30 seconds left.
The utility is just doing wonders comparatively to what Troop has put together for us, and now we've got a free A site for plan.
Enemy remaining.
I mean, kind of going the way we expected, if we're honest. Adder does grab 1 with the Sheriff, but outside of that, looks like it should be a clean victory for FaZe with the spike down at A. Maybe they even give chase to try to make sure that Adder doesn't pick up anything useful. And Poise will finish it off.
Okay. I mean, the tough part about this for Troop is this is the now 2nd map in a row that you've missed out on some key opportunities, and it seems like those missed chances are starting to plague them a touch. And I think the ideas they're trying to put together are fine. It's just the layering and the full execution is just, it's not quite there. And FaZe are breaking its great utility. And that is a big moniker in favor towards FaZe's direction, who, you know, again, struggled at different moments in time last week in that department in particular. All of the questions we asked at the top of the show about would the layering be there? Would they be able to follow up after the good executes? And so far, the answer's been yes.
Bring them down.
A must-win round if you're Turtle Troop right now.
Oh, yeah.
If you lose this, your economy's in the toilet, and FaZe is on map and series point.
Yeah.
FaZe looking to really put that pressure on B early here with the main brunt of their personnel. They still have some tabs being collected by Superman at middle and making sure that they're not getting pushed out of A lobby. Okeanos droning out middle, trying to get some intel defensively as they're going to try to get aggressive off catwalk here. Drone pushing
Alternative
back.
counter, though. Yep. Once more, it's that same story of as soon as Troop try to put something through mid, FaZe are there to at least keep them honest, and now you have to throw more numbers at this, and a lurk out of Supa could completely foil this entire defensive setup. Still no call on the execute towards B main. Not a lot of time, so it's going to have to come in. The lockdown will give us that notion. Speaking Turtle Troop are in bit stack here. Still holding on to darts. Nebula will cover this play into market. As the decay will start to fade away, Spike makes his way on to B.
Yeah, Superman's still watching the mid rotation, though. He could catch Governor before he can get to market. They're trying to push the smoke back off, but Rossi's there watching both of these smokes and gets the kills with Baby Bay. And this could be it, man.
A lot of team help coming through for FaZe. And so now it's into largely this play from Okeanos, and, well, call his name and he gets absolutely decimated by Rossi. Now the play for Baby Bay, just taking away the space. That is just the we're better than you strategy coming out at the end for the investor flawless. And a 12-3 tally with Turtle Troop on no money really whatsoever, or just enough for Guardians and Stingers.
Yeah, that's one of those things where FaZe were doing a good job of setting up the play that they always wanted with the lockdown on B, but making sure they didn't really allow Turtle Troop to do too much defensively with taking space on the map. You know, Superman's kind of patrolling middle. They're not really letting the cat aggression get anything done. Just kind of waited it out, weathered the storm, and then, you know, hit a solid B execute and frag very efficiently.
Yeah.
And now it's a Hail Mary basically for Turtle Troop.
Yep. And they're just going to keep FaZe just so ready for this.
Oh, yeah.
Paranoia is out. Turtle Troop will use that as a chance to back away and try to meet this rotation head on. You still have Adder in a position watching the mid cross. Defense should be able to get structured behind this, and that kill from We Did makes life that much easier.
Yeah, FaZe are actually a little bit wondering now because obviously they got pushed out B. Now they've seen a player go down at middle, so they're not quite sure how Turtle Troop are set up right now defensively, like where their numbers really lie.
Find you.
So Poi's going to try to find some of that information with the haunt there. Gets destroyed, however, so no real read.
Deploying drone. Enemy mark.
Great drone there.
Yep. The tag plus the intel on more. Prowler follows up, just trying FaZe across. And they're at least able to manage that. But 40 seconds of the clock. Spike making its way over towards Tree. There's not a heavy adder setup over here, but he does have the alarm bot to watch his main, so he can keep his focus on Tree.
Yeah, Turret will also pick up on any tree push as well.
30 seconds
it's set up
left.
on the site nicely for that. Spike, though, actually from FaZe will retreat back to B side. Rossi, though, creating the pressure with his drone at tree position, but immediately picked off by Adder, which kind of doesn't really sell the fake when you're getting picked off that fast.
Still, though, FaZe do have the automatic weaponry into the face of the
10
single
seconds
taps of the
left.
Guardians. So Spike will go down. We've got a 3v2 favoring the defensive respawn. Baby Bay taking away space from Adder. That's just another great Guardian tap from Adder. Poised by himself. Be a 1v3. Harmful up top does get a tag in, making life a little bit easier here on the retake. And there it is. Adder once again. Just more miracles out of him and the Sheriff or Guardian, keeping Troop alive a little while longer.
Yeah, it's one of those situations when Rossi gets picked up on catwalk like that and the A fake kind of gets folded because of it. The only thing Baby Bay can do in the 2v3 post plant is try to get something back. And so that's why he gets aggressive inside market as opposed to just, you know, playing with his teammate in sight. In that situation, you're just going to get trapped in the 3 versus 2 and you kind of lose any foothold you have. Didn't work out, though. Adder wins that fight, and that pretty much seals the deal. Brilliant round from him.
Yep. had a handful of those moments, really. And it's in those borderline thrifty rounds we've seen. So something to kind of show some ray of hope for Troop, possibly in the future. Depending they don't make this full comeback, which is still not out of the question, just unlikely. They do have some great tools, though, going into this round. Lockdown, most notably the one that's currently on board for them. And weapons to boot as well. So, chance, just have to see big improvements if they're really to make this happen for another 8 rounds in a row.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, is just keeping the stamina to get yourself back into this. We're seeing some aggression from them at the mid side of the map, but FaZe aren't showing them anything. Just kind of, you know, again, keeping tabs, making sure they're not getting pushed out B lobby thanks to Dice's utility. Maybe FaZe playing that B lane, making sure they're not getting flanked. And meanwhile, they're controlling A lobby, they're getting orb. Wind up getting the ult onto Poise because of that. So that will be the Nightfall available for the push.
Yep.
There.
This is still very meticulous from FaZe as well, mind you. A lot of these rounds have come to the last 35 seconds for these attacks. And they're going to commit to try to likely go through mid here. Split this stack up, and this is exactly where Troop are positioned, but Bebe still comes through with 2 kills. Now the blades are out, and a quick burst over towards A. Adder's still alive with a lot of utility blocking this side door, but the Nightfall will try to get to the entryway. Adder need to get the double eyes. Okay, you've got the benefit of your setup around you. 25 seconds on the clock. FaZe are going to walk in, but with the lockdown earned, Troop have a chance to get some detainments out of this. You have to stick for this.
Indeed, Rossi going to have a hard time trying to get the heck out of here in time. He will make it across thanks to the cover of that smoke. They've also dropped some Killjoy utility on top of the spike to slow down the defensive progress here as they get to post-plant positions in main. And they still maintain main advantage on the face side.
Yeah. Okeanos with the top. Super for the first check. Adder would have to do more than this, and well, not gonna happen in the face of Dicey. Quick transfer, quick headshots.